I have tech news.
You have tech news, John?
I actually have tech news. I have a clip.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, July 27th, 2014. It's time for your Gitmo Nation Media Assassination, episode 638.
This is No Agenda.
We're all waiting for beards here in the South Austin Safe House in FEMA Region 6, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where it's supposed to be 99 degrees today, but it's about 50. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Now, is that just climate change playing tricks on you, or is it going to warm up, or is it 100 and it feels like 50?
Well, it was. This is according to the when we did the last show, which was on Thursday.
Yes.
They predicted that Friday was going to be like 90, and then Saturday was going to be 99, and Sunday was going to be 99. So it was going to be hot.
Right.
So Friday turned out to be the hottest day. Yesterday was windy and kind of mild, and today it's basically cold.
Okay. Well, it finally hit here. The past 2 days have been 100 plus in Texas. Well, not so good.
Oh yeah, I know. That's good for the weather.
No. I didn't talk about it, but on Thursday, just before the show, like 5 minutes before the show, Miss Mickey calls me, and it was raining. It was actually one of those crazy morning rain storms kind of here. And she's like, I just pulled off the highway. I was driving. I hit the accelerator, and it didn't move. It didn't accelerate. And you know, when you're in a big truck, and you're in Texas, when it rains, they drive like morons. It's a little scary.
Well, because California, they do the
same thing, of course. And I said, well, did you just get gas? I said, no, 2 days ago. I said, well, it could be that the gas was crappy or something like that. And she couldn't really figure it out. And it was hard for me to diagnose what the problem was. Anyway, so she, I said, call the garage, and they said, oh, well, we don't have a replacement car, come in Monday. So anyway, Mickey finally gets this car home, and she's actually driven it on Friday, and she says, there's something wrong, it doesn't feel right. And then yesterday, with now it's 102 degrees, like, oh, let's go to the farmer's market. I get in the car, and we drive reverse out of the driveway, put it in gear, and we go like 3 feet, and then I'm like, okay, let me try.
Ooh, I like the sound effect.
So the transmission's dropped out. It only goes in reverse. So I'm reversing
so
around.
Go to the farmer's market anyway.
Exactly. So I'm reversing around the block to get back. And but now this is where it starts. Where now I have to figure out I can't drive to the Ford garage in reverse. So I got to call them.
Good.
Yeah, I'll call them. They're like, yeah, we'll send over Texas Towing, which is Red. Now, you got to imagine Red is about 300 pounds. He's got complete bright orange, short cropped hair and beard. 3 teeth in his face. Huge belly. And hey, I'm Red. I'm here to take you. And of course, I have to ride with him to the Ford garage. And now
much of a conversationalist.
Oh yeah, he loved talking. It's hot in the truck. No, the air conditioning don't work. And so it was big, sweaty Red in the truck. Yeah, so it's all this horrible. And then I bought that extended warranty because when you buy a secondhand car like this, and I get there and say, oh yeah, we'll see if all the parts are covered under your warranty. What? What do you mean all the parts?
What did I say to you?
It's exactly what you said to me. I'm like, please don't do this to me. And they say, well, we're going to double check, because of course we've moved. I can't find any paperwork here. Well, you can rent the car, and if it turns out that's covered under your extended warranty, then you'll get a voucher and we'll charge. But it's like, this is going to be horrible.
It's funny when you have a Lexus, and my car is 20 plus years old.
Yeah,
old Lexus.
Nothing wrong with it.
Well, no, there's that. But the other thing is interesting is that they will always loan you a car.
That's why I was like, what's the problem? It's like, come on, I bought the car here 9 months ago.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it was one of those things, It's like when you have all the extra expenses of moving, and then your tranny drops out, and boy, do I hate it when the tranny drops out.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Yeah. So now all this
is terrible.
All this takes place on
You just bought the car a few months ago.
Yeah,
and
9 months ago. Yeah, 100.
They should be covering this without the extended anything.
No, you have to. No, you had the. I think it's 60-day lemon law or something. And
Well, the lemon law's got nothing to do with the thing falling apart.
I know. Well, look, I'm not a very sophisticated buyer of automobiles, I guess.
Oh, maybe.
I'm sorry. But anyway, but this is all taking place in this heat, and then you'll have this new studio, which it's a little casita, which is a part of on the other side of the house, which was built for, I don't know, your grandmother, to be here half dead and then, not be here during the day, and certainly not have computers and screens and all these, cable boxes and routers and so the air conditioning can't handle it.
Really?
Yes. So I've got all the shades.
It can handle
down.
a normal Texas 105-degree day, but it can't handle a couple of routers.
No, it can handle the 105 day, but not with a 6 foot person. And I got tons of computers here.
How hot are you?
98.6.
Come on, there it is. Softball.
98.6. Hey, come on.
Softball.
Yeah, and so the airco guy comes over. He says, "No, man, I'm measuring it. This guy, you got it's all cold. Everything works. It's, and he keeps. It's very strange because there's a bathroom here, and he's trying to explain. And every single time in his explanation of why the air conditioning can't handle it, he's saying, "No, you got the computers and you got the screens, and even if you go in and pinch a loaf." And he kept saying this pinch a loaf thing. I was a little creeped out by it.
That is pretty creepy if the guy keeps saying it.
Like 3 or 4 times.
Maybe he says it once for effect. It's fine.
You pinching a loaf. I'm like, dude, all right? I don't pinch a loaf. I poop. I don't pinch a loaf.
Welcome to Texas. You're in a new neighborhood, my friend.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, we know that we've gone a little down in neighborhoods, but maybe at least my car won't get broken into here.
No, it'd be a fight over that.
It's better here. Yeah. Anyway,
so I went to the drag races yesterday.
Wow, RuPaul's Drag Race?
And I have to say, I haven't been to a drag race for so long that I apparently don't know what the hell's going on.
What, has it changed? I mean, isn't it the essence is just a lot of noise and then it's over in 3 seconds?
That is still the basic end point, but it's not done. It's like the way it's done now is so high tech.
Oh,
they got sensors on everything. Here's an example of just 2 things I learned that I didn't know about. One is that the quarter of a mile for the top fuel dragsters and the
funny cars.
And the funny cars, which these are machines that develop 10,000 horsepower.
Yeah.
It's not a quarter mile anymore. It's only 1,000 feet.
Well, how many feet is a quarter mile?
Well, 5,200 feet is like 1,200 feet. No, it's more than that, actually. It's 13, 14, 1,500 feet.
That's weird.
I have to do the math, but it's not.
But then we have to throw out the Grease Lightning song now.
Whatever the case is, the things are too dangerous, these cars. So the car makes you have to imagine this. You have this car. It makes this quick run. It's 3.5 seconds or 4 seconds at the most to get down to the end of the 1,000 feet at doing 300 miles an hour in 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
They bring the car back into the pits and they rebuild the thing from scratch. They take everything off of it.
Oh, no, that's always been the case. They always take it apart after a run, I thought.
Well, when I was a kid, they didn't. But they take it apart. They take the clutch. They take everything. They gut the car. And then they rebuild it. And they all do this within 45 minutes.
Huh.
Because they got another run.
Yeah. Well, there's not much to it. It's just an engine.
So these
and
guys, there's quite a bit to it, actually, but it's built to be taken apart. That's the point. And the body comes off. The engine's very, very easy to get to at that point. So it doesn't take a genius to take it apart.
Any good crashes? Anything? No,
I didn't see any crashes. It was just very educational. I found it very entertaining.
I've really only been once in South Jersey with my buddy Jack Ponte. He's way into Top Fuel, and if you go for the first time, the 2 things you notice are, one, how incredibly loud this is. And if you don't have ear protection, you're hurting yourself. And the smell is a smell that it's quite delicious. This methanol, you never forget the smell of this nitro stuff. It's like
it's very
nice, very refreshing.
Well, I ended up with a starting line pass, which is a little different. As loud and crazy as it is normally, if you're on the starting line area, which is where all these guys are that wipe off the tires and all this, you're right there where the car is when it takes off.
Yeah.
It's the most, and I would recommend anyone can get one of these passes just to experience this.
Well, if you have breasts, it's never a problem.
If you get to the start, you can get on the track at where the cars are, where they're taking off. It is the most astonishing series of low notes and solar plexus shakeup that you have ever experienced. I mean, there's absolutely nothing like it. It's like an earthquake.
No, it is.
It's just astonishing.
It's also a very American thing. It's just an American thing.
Yeah, and the audience reflects that. It's actually pretty. Actually, the audience isn't just rednecks; it's a broad-based group of people, and it's very fan friendly because the pits are. You can get a pit pass and hang out with the drivers. Yeah.
We'll get off the topic. I do want to mention in the PR section of the show notes for today, 638.noagendanotes.com, 2 videos, actually one full video and then pictures and video page of the official No Agenda battery car. Did you see the video that these guys put together and sent to us?
Yeah, we talked about it.
But I didn't have it in the show notes, and I uploaded it to YouTube and I tweeted it. And this thing is great. I mean, it's the old.
It goes fast.
Yeah, 187 miles an hour on a battery or something.
Yeah.
I said, we'll promote this thing as long as you beat the crap out of Tesla. So we just have to be faster than Tesla all the time.
Well, he had a Tesla S on this track and he passed it.
Yeah, good.
But he mentions in the video that apparently these are like trials of some sort, and so it's not a real race. And you can't just pass anybody unless you're right behind him, and then they give you the go ahead.
Yeah.
So there's no competitive passing where you could bump fenders.
Anyway, as we move into to the show for today, happy belated Sysadmin Day. I feel kind of bad that we didn't pre-promote that on Thursday's show because we are pretty much the only media outlet in the universe that actually admires, respects, and honors systems administrators, network administrators, the guys who make the whole thing tick.
Is that true, you think?
I never hear. Please. Did you see Jon Stewart say Happy Sysadmin Day? No. Colbert? No.
Well, they don't know what a sysadmin is.
No. Or the importance of a sysadmin. So, and we have lots of female sysadmins.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
We're always very, very happy they're around. I guess a couple of people. There's a lot of email coming in. Of course, there's a lot of weird things happening in the world, and I realize that I certainly, maybe we have overlooked or maybe misestimated or misjudged the people who are kind of running the world when we talk about Kerry or. No chin monster. I
mean, we misjudged any of them.
Well, here's the misjudging I feel I've done, where I'm often talking about, Kerry and on behalf of America. And here's what America is doing against Russia, and Russia is doing against the EU. And the mistake that I'm making, I think, is these people aren't actually for any country. I think the geographic stuff of I represent this part of the world. I think that is where I've gone wrong, and I have to look at it on much more like a globalist scale of people. The people who really run things, they're globalists. They don't give a crap which country does it for them. They really just care about owning more of it. And when you start to look at things a little more in that perspective, and particularly Kerry, who represents a faction of globalists, things become a little clearer. And when you think he's not just there trying to make things work for America. In fact, the very little is being done for America, I believe.
Well, these guys from that school, the school that Kerry comes from, would be termed by the communists or the Marxists as an internationalist.
Or I heard a new term, Atlanticist. Atlanticist and Pacificist, it would be Pacificist.
I've never heard those terms.
But Atlanticist, who's purely for the Atlantic Ocean, so the United States and Europe. No, I think there's something to it. It's all that stuff about New World Order and Trilateral Commission. It's kind of happening. People say, hey, we're going to have World War III. And I look around and I say, how much of the world has to be at war for it to qualify as World War III?
Well, so which brings us to a point, which I have a clip of. What is the deal with this, with the bookkeeper of the Ukraine, that guy who is
he resigned.
Yeah, here's the clip of it.
Yes. I have a couple things on that.
Expected to continue Friday morning. Our international affairs editor, Armin Georgian, joins me on set now. Armin, now we were just seeing in that report, what is it exactly that Yatsenyuk's resignation means for the crisis in Ukraine?
Well, firstly, concerning the laws that he was condemning Parliament for not passing, those pertain to paying salaries. So he said he could no longer pay doctors, teachers, he couldn't pay for new rifles or fuels to carry out the military operation in eastern Ukraine. And the second main issue was energy. That's to say, he said Parliament's failure to pass these laws meant that, yes, the country could no longer fill its gas storages in order to, quote, free ourselves from our dependence on Russian gas, unquote. And presumably what this means is that on both of those issues, on salaries being paid and on the energy issue, there's going to be limbo until those elections are held this autumn. Now, elections were a key demand of the pro-European activists, the whole so-called Euromaidan movement. They really wanted elections to happen. That was one of their demands last year when the old regime was still in power. But of course, things have changed radically since then. Now the country is racked by this insurgency in the east. And I suppose the larger question has to be, what effect do new elections have in terms of bringing that conflict any closer to a conclusion, or indeed in resolving this gas dispute with Russia?
Now, the way I understand it is basically the parliament fell. They had a parliamentary crisis when the right-wing party, I think the Boxer guy was leading a faction, and he pulled out, and then they didn't have the majority, and that's when the whole thing came crumbling down. And here's something that I only saw on Euronews. I did not see this. Didn't see this on CNN or any Washington possibly controlled media outlet.
Ukraine's parliament descended into chaos after a politician took issue with criticism of Russia and accused Kiev of waging war on Ukrainian people. A member of former President Viktor Yanukovych's party, he was pushed off the rostrum by a far-right MP, and the melee ensued.
Melee!
The elected deputies did manage to approve a presidential decree calling up more military reserves to serve in the east, where fighting has continued.
So they're putting it mildly, but there's guys punching each other in parliament.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great. And isn't this and by the way, accountant, I think he also looks a little bit more like a bass player from a 70s disco band. Yeah.
I still think the accountant, I think, he could look a little bit like a bass player.
You know what I mean? One of those introvert guys. So this was the guy who was like, oh, we're going to hold everyone to account, these bastards. Yeah, and then he resigns.
He was the original kind of stand-in president.
Right, yeah. Until we got the chocolate
had
guy.
Phony baloney election that put the other guy in, and he became prime minister. And now he quits. This is not working out the way Newland Noodleman wanted it to work out. He was one of the guys who had the nickname Yaz or something like that.
Yats. Yeah. So, what's your analysis? What do you think happened specifically with him? It could also be that he's messed it up so bad, or that he had to get out, and they may be bringing some new person in. That's because everyone's very quiet about this. It's not even really being brought up in the State Department briefings. No,
which is very peculiar.
I've been looking for some info on Psaki. You had a clip on Thursday's show.
I was looking for info on her too, and I almost found something, but then I just couldn't believe what I was running into was going to account for her being sent to Siberia.
Well, so backing up a bit is
explain to people who don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, please.
The apparently John Kerry had gone to Turkey and then said some disparaging things about Jen Psaki, the spokesperson for the State Department, and that's why Marie Harf has been doing all the press conferences. And Psaki's been absent without, missing in action. And we wonder why.
Yeah, so I talked to our Russian producers, and although no one could say specifically what might have happened, apparently in Russia, Jen Psaki is some kind of running joke. They have...
I saw that. I saw it. Russia Today has a whole webpage on her.
Yeah, and they've got videos where they make funny cartoon sounds when she's talking and shit. Like, boing, 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 boing. They think she's some more... Well, there you go. But she must have said more than just whatever.
Well, I looked at all those clips and I saw nothing that
Me neither.
It was just, what are you guys making a fuss about? So there's got to be something else, and there may have been something that triggered, I don't know, or maybe just a smear campaign.
Yeah, why? I mean, what?
But why?
What difference does that make?
We'll figure it out.
Well,
I'm telling you, even though this is not even important to anything that we do generally, I think we'll still figure it out. I think it's because it's something weird about it.
It could also be that the Russians, just like you and I, enjoy the Matt and Marie show, which I think they should take on the road. Matt from AP. I got a clip.
Matt Marie clip.
I got the clip. Let me see. What do you have?
Did you get the one where she just starts?
Here it is. Well, you tell me if this is the one.
And I do have a couple new pieces of information about arms continuing to flow across the border since the shootdown. Okay. We have new evidence that the Russians intend to deliver heavier and more powerful multiple rocket launchers to the separatist forces in Ukraine, and have evidence that Russia is firing artillery from within Russia to attack Ukrainian military positions. These are some pieces of info I've been able to get from our intelligence friends for you. I can't tell you what the information's based on. I know that's disappointing to you, Matt, but was able to get just some of the data points we've seen about...
He has the best line coming up here.
...the continuing arms flow across the border.
Right. It's not me who you need to convince. It's the rest of the world. I don't understand.
The rest of the world who has seen these separatists shoot down a dozen planes, who has now seen a separatist leader come out and say they had this missile and appear to at least take credit for something similar to this. So I think there's a preponderance of evidence. We went through it yesterday. I'm happy to continue going through it.
I don't think we need to go through all of what you guys presented as in lieu of evidence. But I would like to know what you're basing this new evidence that the Russians intend to send any heavier equipment.
It's based on some intelligence information. I can't get into the sources and methods behind it, but I was able to tell you that.
Is there a YouTube video or something that you can point us to that would
show? Do you have a YouTube video I can look at perhaps as evidence? At what point?
Well, what was interesting about that clip, you didn't play it. You should play it out because
you want to hear the rest?
She says, for the heads up, she says, and she turns away from it. Says, "Is there any other questions?" Or so do you have other questions to him? And then he says something else snide. And then she turns to the audience, and nobody will raise their hands because everyone defers to this guy. So he jumps back in, takes over the conversation, and pretty much does this commonly. And I suspect that there's some seniority system within. I don't know how it works, but it's obvious there's a seniority system because he has the A chair right in the front.
He's in pole position.
And he is always mic'd.
No, they all have mics. All of them have mics.
Yeah, but he's really, he's got the loudest voice, and it seems to me, and they don't. They probably do all have mics. Whatever the case is, everyone seems to. When he's asking questions, everyone else shuts up.
Yeah, because he's entertaining.
Well, I wonder if it's a seniority thing or.
Well, it's Associated Press. I mean, that's
pretty high position. That's for sure.
I tweeted him after I saw this. I said, dude, if you're ever in Austin, I'm buying you a beer. #, is there a YouTube video we can see?
I'm just wondering if what it is.
I just said I wasn't going to give you the underlying source for it.
Did you say? But then, look, it's not the question.
I don't give you more information and just say nothing?
I love that. You want me to say nothing to you? Would you rather have no information?
I can't give you the source? No, I'm actually asking you a question here. If I can't give you the source and method, would you prefer I not give you the information?
Yeah, because it would be unprovable bullshit. How about that? That's, of course, Matt, he's a little more polite.
Marie, I think that it would be best for all concerned.
Are there any other questions?
If when you
shut up, Slade,
make an allegation like that, you're able to back it up with something more than just because I say so.
That's not what I said. It's based on intelligence information. It's not because I said so.
It's not me that's making these.
You can just see, it's not because I said so. It's based on intelligence, Matt.
Allegations. I mean, you guys get up and at the UN Security Council make these allegations. The Secretary gets on the Sunday shows and make these allegations. And then when you present your evidence to back up those allegations, it has appeared to, at least for some, fall short of definitive proof.
I would strongly disagree with that.
Okay, so you're saying that they're moving in a new and heavier weaponry. Can you say what kind?
I said multiple rocket launchers.
Multiple rocket launchers of the Buk kind or of the same?
Multiple orgasms. She could say anything she wants, and I'd just love listening to it.
And I can't remember.
They're
now,
firing artillery from within Russia to attack Ukrainian military.
Do you believe that that rockets, missiles, artillery, whatever fired from Russian territory took down these two Ukrainian planes, or do you not even have confirmation yet that happened?
We're still looking into exactly what brought down this.
So you're sure that they did?
I said we're still looking into it.
I know, you're sure that the planes went down.
Oh, that's my understanding.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you don't know. I mean, the Ukrainians have claimed that they were shot down from what...
Why is it that they don't see that this is such a farce? Or maybe it's just everyone's so dumbed down that, of course, this never gets on the air, I guess. This never is really
it never gets on the air, these things.
It's never presented to the public.
Tete-a-tetes. And they...
but
as entertaining as it is, now they did take this clip and they highlighted it on C-SPAN as a standalone clip.
On C-SPAN, no less. Wow.
Well, I mean, at least somebody did it. This is the only time I've ever seen Marie with that bun, that hairdo. What the hell was that all about?
And this one time at band camp, I stuck a flute in my pussy.
Actually, she was on with Brolf. I have two clips. One is about Kerry specifically. This is more about Israel and Palestine. But when you listen to her and Brolf, and she's basically just saying, my boss is so awesome. John Kerry is just fucking awesome. He's awesome. He's great.
All right, so the secretary is going to stay in Paris. What are his plans? He's going to come back here to the Middle East. Do you know? Does he know?
Well, if the secretary is currently on his way back to Washington, he has left Paris. He is also, I would note, making a number of phone calls from the plane to Israelis and other partners as well. Woo! And, no matter where he is, whether it's Jerusalem or Paris or Cairo or Washington, he is so deeply engaged in these issues. He's made dozens and dozens of phone calls over the past few days and will absolutely continue to be going.
Yes, citizen. Don't be alarmed. We're here on official business.
He's just making phone calls everywhere from the plane. He's calling everybody. He's in charge. He's running the show. And when you see...
Boy, is that a kiss-ass commentary.
And when you see the video of
she wants to get Psaki out of there.
Oh, well, Psaki is nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
And it's kind of jumping. Actually, this is Libya. It's kind of a long clip, but it's her and Brolf, and it's so funny. This is, it is every lie you can imagine, right down to, of course, Gaddafi. For years, he was a brutal dictator killing people. Absolutely not true. We had Tony Blair, George Bush, Madeleine Albright. Everyone's hanging out in the tent, and everyone's vibing.
Built him a tent in New York for some event.
Yeah, and that was in Donald Trump's backyard.
Yeah.
He was not some horrible, brutal dictator all the time, no more or less than any other leader of any country. But when you hear her talk about Libya and covering up the fact that it's completely out of control, we don't give a crap. The only thing we care about is that the oil is flowing, which is the only reason all of this happened. And of course, we never saw any video really of the destruction of the Tomahawk missiles and everything. We just blew the place up and went in and took over. And so now, things are heating up, and all they have is the people running the oil rigs and then the embassy, and get the people out. and she is just lying.
Let me quickly get your thoughts on Libya and the decision by the U.S. to leave the U.S. Embassy, evacuate U.S. diplomatic and military personnel from Libya. This has turned out what's going on in Libya the last couple of years or so since the overthrow of Gaddafi is a real disaster, hasn't it?
Since the overthrow of Gaddafi. What do you mean the overthrow of Gaddafi? We killed him. We went and we killed the guy and took over his country.
Well, look, Wolf.
Well, look, Wolf. I'm Marie Harf.
We know that these kind of large transitions from decades and decades of dictatorship trying to move towards democracy, we know those transitions take a long time in many cases.
It's just not easy. Can you believe this, John? This is crazy. Decades and decades of dictatorship.
They're often quite difficult. They certainly don't happen overnight. And they really are generational challenges that we need to work on. It's only been 3 years since the Libyans rose up and tried to pick a better future. And
wait a minute. The Libyans rose up and tried to pick a better future? The Libyans didn't say, hey, come and take over. This is bullshit.
We know there will be challenges along the way. The reason we have temporarily suspended operations at our embassy is because there was just so much severe fighting literally in the vicinity of the embassy that we believed we needed to pull our folks out for now. But I want to be clear, Ambassador Jones and
I want to be clear because this is how I'm taught to talk.
Our team will be heavily engaged in the meantime, but we'll also get back on the ground as soon as they possibly can. It is critical that we remain engaged here.
All right, was there a credible and specific threat to U.S. diplomats working in Tripoli?
No, Wolf, that's not why we took this step, and I want to be clear about that. Obviously, we know it's a difficult operating environment, but we really did this because the embassy itself is physically located pretty much in the middle of where so much of this very heavy militia fighting has been taking place. So we're just in the middle of a very tough security situation. As you showed earlier, the airport in Tripoli also has come under intense fighting. So we believe that this made sense time-wise to do this. But look, we operate in many dangerous places around the world.
Oh, because we're the State Department, we operate in dangerous places. When did we replace the person who speaks for the United States of America with my kindergarten teacher? This is nuts.
Because we believe that there's a role for American leadership to play there. We certainly believe that's the case in Libya. We will continue working with them, and we'll get our folks back in there as soon as we possibly can.
To lead them. All right, bro.
One final question, Marie, before I let you go. I did some checking before the show. The U.S. government spent, U.S. taxpayers, $1.65 billion, with a B, $1.65 billion, those Tomahawk cruise missiles, the other military expenditures, the humanitarian aid, the economic aid to Libya, to get rid of Gaddafi, in effect. Was that money well spent?
Now, before we let her answer, first of all, I think that's lowballing it, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
That's maybe a week's worth.
Just the fuel alone.
Yeah, really.
Jets.
And of course, any money we put in went directly into the American economy, really. You know, in oil profits and the military industrial complex. I mean, it's just a round robin. But I think we can probably say, hey, what price do you put on democracy for people? As Americans, we need to make sure there's a democratic life and a decent retirement for all human beings. It's your human right.
Well, look, Wolf, we are helping a country come out of a brutal dictatorship.
Brutal!
We are helping the people of Libya get a better future. We believe this is incredibly important to do, even despite the amount of money that you mentioned, because we believe this is not just a security issue, but also an issue of American leadership and helping democracies flourish, if they can, in places where they hadn't before. So, look, this is a tough challenge, and people who expect democracy to just spring up from dictatorship overnight, I just think probably aren't familiar with the history or how difficult it is.
Yes.
Because we believe it's a long-term priority, it's a long-term challenge, and we will keep working with the Libyans because, again, we really do believe that it's critical to help give them a chance at a better future. That's why so many Libyans rose up and indeed gave their lives for it.
Yes, the Libyans rose up. They said, we want a better future. Please, Hillary Clinton, please help us.
Unconfirmed. Yes, we came, we saw, he died.
Yes. Thank you for your democracy. Do I think the sad thing is, I think she believes it. I think she really thinks that we're bringing some kind of...
she seems pretty sincere in a kind of a glib way.
It's in a disturbing glib way.
Yeah.
So back to...
if you're going to be doing this job, you have to drink the Kool-Aid, it seems to me.
So just back to Russia, Ukraine, and obviously the fight, the war for the customer being Europe. I have a collection. I'm just going to read you the headlines, but I have a collection in the show notes of other gas-related news stories that came out just in the couple days between the Thursday show and today. Ukrainian army helps install shale gas production equipment near Slavyansk, which is eastern Ukraine. Putin visit to Serbia to focus on gas. Battle for Syria gas field after jihadists execute hundreds. Erdogan purchases $35 million oil tanker. Bulgarian energy holding puts off Gazprom loan on South Stream. Bulgaria's prime minister resigns with bank crisis unresolved. The South Stream pipeline is Putin's backup. And, all these countries are like, well, what are you going to do for me? And then, the EU bankrupts these countries if they don't play along. Hungary's prime minister not intending to give up on South Stream. Russia's Gazprom Neft started oil production from Badra oil field in Iraq. Oil and gas, Russian company signs exploration deal with Ethiopia. South Stream not a priority, says Croatian official. They're backing off a little. Serbia says South Stream pipeline crucial. Bulgarian government approved South Stream loan from Gazprom in its last days. So there's, Putin is all over the place. Also lent $18 billion to, that was the Chinese. Putin's working on Argentina now. He wants to get his hands on that oil and I guess help them pay off the bondholders in the U.S. This is really a very interesting war that's going on. And it's kind of like, you're either with America and the UK, and I'll just say UK because they're talking about getting out of the Union, out of the European Union, and even they're kind of like, I don't know, what do you guys want to do? Germany, whose side do you want to be on? And it's really, if you look at the division of the landmass,
we are documenting one of the biggest messes in the history of the United States.
Thank you.
On this show.
Absolutely. If you look, and of course people never look at maps anymore, but if you take a look and you see Iran, Syria, Georgia, Chechnya, you can see all these divisions. You can see right where the lines are being drawn. And again, the funny thing is, this is currently, it's really about the customer. We're fighting over one customer, the EU. That's what the fight is about. We want to bring gas to the customer from Qatar. And the Israel-Palestine thing has a little bit to do with this as well, I believe. So we want to bring gas up through Turkey and gas up through Israel, and we want to cut off the gas from Iran and Russia. And it's just fighting over the customer.
A big customer.
Yeah, very big customer.
It's a big one.
Hell yeah.
And it gets cold.
Yeah, it's a very big one. But all that the people see is just the periphery. You look, the Dutch, I love them, man, but even here in Austin, we went to a birthday party last night. And when someone turns around and says to me, well, on your show, you're probably going to talking about how ISIS is going to cause terrorist attacks in Norway. I'm like, people are so dumb, so stupid. They don't care. They're not paying attention to anything.
Well, they are paying attention, but they're being guided to pay the wrong attention.
Exactly. Entertainment. Here's an example. This is what is that show that Eli Roth is doing? Hell Schreiber or something? It's some kind of chat one probably.
I don't know anything about this.
It's some kind of actually it's getting a little bit of heat. People are talking about it. I guess it's a episodic show. I'm going to see if someone in the chat room knows what it is. We have like a 10-second delay. Helen Schreiber. I'm not quite sure what it is. And they carry on all these memes in there that we always talk about, which are kind of bullcrap. Certainly this one, as it was just part of the script.
I had a theory. Would have published a research paper, but department chairman was discovered homosexual, which in Russia is not permitted.
Get to the point.
In Russia,
not permitted.
In Russia, homosexual is not permitted. Get to the point. Get to the point. That is the point.
Yeah, obviously.
And then we have David Letterman. You watch David Letterman, don't you?
I occasionally do.
Did you see he had the CBS News woman on, Nora? What's her name?
No, I didn't watch that one.
Here is Nora. What's her name on the Letterman show?
We really got ourselves in a box here now, don't we?
I think he's in a huge box right now. It's also a test for this president. What's he going to do in the Middle East at the same time? But I think something's going to happen in the next week. I really do. I think there's a turning point here. And Putin is going to decide to thumb his nose at the international community, or he's going to at least pull back. He will not apologize, I don't think.
You know, we've just come now through 12 years of war that the United States has been committed to. This smells like war, but we're not going to have another war. This is a job for SEAL Team 6. Call him, kill the guy. Call him and kill the guy. That's all.
Yeah!
Right?
Woo!
Yeah.
Woo! Kill him!
I was clapping. Advocating violence.
Not advocating violence, but he's a psychopath.
There you
go. He doesn't care. He just couldn't care less. And a sanction, what does he care? He's got all yeah, exactly. SEAL Team 6. Yeah, we'd like to schedule. Could we schedule a party? We'd like you to deliver a pizza to Vladimir Putin.
That's your popular culture. That's how it's being delivered.
Oh yeah, very well done.
And
you want to control the public, just give them bull crap like that.
I'm a little disappointed in Letterman.
Letterman always finishes those with, I don't really know anything anyway. I'm an idiot. So, I mean, he does the disclaimer, but of course nobody pays attention to that.
Of course not. Meanwhile, the IMF is making some noise. This is kind of funny. Well, things aren't really playing out the way we expected them to. And, you had all these things you were going to do and these sanctions and, you're spending more on military and you're not really holding to the terms of the agreement there on that $16 billion loan. So I think we're going to have to, sell off some more of your stuff and confiscate some stuff. You need to pass some new laws on taxes. The poor people. Oh, so bad.
I don't understand how anyone can do business with them. But they do anyway, because I guess they got some good salespeople in that IMF operation.
Well, can you imagine if Christine Lagarde walked up to you? You'd be like, I think you'd be like,
you should start taking off your clothes and wearing a barrel.
Exactly.
So they're attacking the Russian banks. This is another story on France 24 about this all. Now they're going after they're only going after the. I have a thought on this.
Before you do that, what are we going? You said something really important that we are documenting. What did you say? Right now, we're documenting the biggest.
I don't know.
It was so prophetic.
It was. I know what I said, but I don't remember that one word you're looking for.
Yeah. We're documenting something very big here. And you're right. And we are somehow we are seeing the meta mess. We're seeing the mess from a large distance, which most people are just seeing a little street angle. Street
they're just seeing what they're. It's like most people are not given the opportunity to. And we go to the donation segment. There's a couple of notes about this too. That most people are not given the opportunity to take or to look at this whole world the world scene from a different perspective. Mm-hmm. They're given the official perspective, which is what's needed to control the public. Yeah. Otherwise, people would be voting out all their congressmen and all the rest of it. I mean, I have this one guy. I gotta skip around.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to get you off track, but
you got to play this bonehead. His name is from Illinois. I wrote his name downstairs, but this is They're coming up with the Congress is trying to get back its powers to declare war and control these situations rather than the president just making a decision. And so this Republican douchebag actually is arguing against the idea, thinking that it's better that Congress not have anything to do with this, even though it's important in the Constitution, because then we'll get blamed. He says,
"Really?
You gotta listen to this guy. He's got all. For one thing, he starts off with the female mutilation nonsense that supposedly ISIS has declared two things supposedly that's been reported. this is just to rile up the American public. One, all Christians must convert.
Okay, I want to hear this.
Or be killed.
Yeah, nice.
Which is not.
I'm sorry.
The very conservative Islamic regimes, you don't have to convert. You just have to pay a huge tax to be any other religion.
Yeah, it's in the Quran. Even there's a special little tax you pay for, and you don't get killed.
No, you must convert, and you'll be killed if not the case. And then the other one is now we demand female circumcision, which is
another meme that's out there. I love that.
Which showed up, and it's been debunked to everybody, I guess, except this Republican. But listen to this guy.
There is a march of jihadism and extremism that makes Al-Qaeda look like puppy dogs that's happening in Iraq. A president that's indecisive on what to do. We have genital mutilations ordered in Mosul just the other day by ISIS. And we're here in Washington, D.C., debating what we need to do to hamstring the president who's already indecisive enough about this. You know, when American military, American Marines and Army get themselves into sustained combat, they often call on strong air support to help them win the fight. And that's why, as well as the strong Marines and Army we have, that's why we're so good at what we do. And we're asking the Iraqi military to take back their country and take land, but yet not providing them substantial air power that's needed to destroy this very evil cancer that's growing in the Middle East. That's what we ought to be here discussing today, is how to stop this cancer of jihadism and ISIS that's growing in the Middle East, how to stop that from growing, and ultimately prevent it from coming here to the United States of America and potentially to our allies. So while I, again, strongly respect and fully understand what my chairman is doing here and appreciate his hard work, I think instead of giving the president an ability to blame Congress for his indecisiveness, I think it's time that we stand up and say we have to defend our interest and defend people that want to defend themselves. And with that, I yield back.
Yes. Well, playing right into that, I have two clips. One is from former Department of Homeland Security Deputy Director K.T. McFarland. And she was doing some...
And she is all over the place, by the way.
I don't know why. She's
all of a sudden, boom, K.T. McFarland's everywhere.
And I mean, she has the name is good, the branding's good, she's a good speaker. I mean, I don't know what she's doing, but she's out there, and this is her message.
We now have indications that there are, in the groups that are coming across the southern border, there are populations that come from very dangerous places, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Somalia. That's my concern, is that in that porous southern border, what comes across is not just people who say, well, I want to take down the World Trade Center, but it's numbers of people who could come across the United States. They're experienced fighters. They know what they're doing. They could marry up with American passport holders. And then you could see 5 years from now, 3 years from now, 8 years from now, you could see sustained and continuous terrorist attacks in the United States. Not big ones.
Not big ones.
But little ones.
Listen, here
that
comes.
Almost is more dangerous than big ones.
Little ones.
If you had the sense that there were 10 simultaneous attacks at American shopping centers across the country, we all stay home and hide under the bed.
Oh, really? There you go. So we have jihadists marrying up with Americans, with our dumb American chicks, I guess. Oh, hey, what a hot jihadist. I think go marry him. And then they integrate, and then 5 years later, we got 10 simultaneous attacks in the malls, and we'd all be hiding at home under our beds. Why,
what kind of insanity leads to this sort of thinking?
Fear is freedom. Subjugation is liberation. Contradiction is truth. Those are the facts of this world. And you will all surrender to them. You pigs in human clothing.
Yeah. That's what
What was that from?
That was K.T. McFarland on a...
K.T. McFarland and the Thrones game.
Did you see any of the...
By the way, just to interrupt you because of that last clip. There was I think this was about 5 or 6 years ago, there was and I don't like Saturday Night Live because the bits are too long and they don't know when to end them. But there was a bit on Saturday Night Live where this scenario that she described was taking place. These guys had married into these hot women, two or three of them.
That's great.
They married these hot women and all living in the suburbs, and they got good white-collar jobs, and they're driving SUVs, and they get the call. And it's the guy is going, wait, Abdul, are you sure it was just they were just fighting against this idea. I can't hear you. The line's this busy. That kind of thing. It was very funny.
Hello, Abdullah. Yeah. It's time for jihad.
Oh? Yeah. I've got the Sunday school to go to.
Well, so the Aspen Security Conference was on, and I've been watching as much as possible. Their servers were overloaded. I tried to get the Dempsey stuff, and luckily some people had downloaded it and got it to me. But there was so much going on. Every single douchebag in the world. And what is this Aspen Security Conference for anyway? I mean, do you know what this is about?
Well, it's not for skiing this time of year.
No. But everyone's
maybe
there.
Fishing? What do you think? There's a lot of good fishing up there.
It must be a sales job of some sort. And everybody is there. And Dempsey, he does an hour long, and he's sitting back. He's almost like leaning back in his chair like, yo, bitches, I'm Dempsey. Look at my uniform. Look at my Bakelite name tag.
I got a Bakelite name tag that says Dempsey.
So I have tons of Dempsey clips, but I want to start with John Pistola, the guy who runs our TSA. And there's this little bit which, from a perspective of we're all supposed to be incredibly afraid of this, and we now have all these extra security measures in place because of this. We have slave scanners. We have just incredible burden and violation of our just dignity by the department this guy is running. For him to say the following about the underwear bomber, it really bothered me, and someone needs to call him out on it. Hereby I call him out. What is your understanding happened with the underwear bomber? Why did the plane not explode in a fiery ball of flames and crash to the ground, killing everyone over United American skies, John? What happened?
Was lighting his crotch on fire, and some of the passengers saw this and doused the fire and started to beat it and essentially captured the guy.
Oh, really? That is not true, John. That's not what happened.
No?
Not according to the TSA guy, the guy who actually should be, held responsible for
the guy being on the plane in the first place.
Here he is.
How close was that 2009 bombing, and why did it fail?
It was very close. The Abdul Muttalib, the bomber, had the device with him for over 2 weeks, and
had he been wearing it for over 2 weeks?
He had it with him for over 2 weeks.
Is that what?
How do they know this?
It was damp. Is that the right word to use? I don't know. Like the fuse was bad. I mean,
let's say it was degraded.
It was degraded.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank goodness for bad hygiene, right?
That's right. Let's just say its efficacy was degraded. How's that?
That you put that very well.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, smooth. Okay. All right, I'll move on now.
Thank you.
That.
Yeah,
You're welcome. Okay.
All right, so I wish hellfire on all these people sitting there laughing about this. An entire nation has been put under duress because of this one instance, and now the guy's saying, well, he crapped his pants and he was peeing in his pants, and that's why it didn't go off? Really?
It's kind of what he said.
It isn't that
without saying it.
He makes jokes about it, and she's in on the gag, and he was wearing it for 2 weeks. I find this so cavalier that is disgusting.
Wow. Well, that's what they have to do, I guess, keep their jobs.
Should we do a couple of Dempsey things? I think it's really
I didn't hear any of the stuff, so I would be interested. I'd be interested in what Dempsey has to say.
Okay. First, let me see. I think this is Dempsey.
If words alone could stem the tide of...
Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's something else.
That's not Dempsey.
No, that's not Dempsey. I will put that into a different folder where it belongs. Okay. Let's see. Dempsey, the first thing he does, very interesting, looking at... the EU as the customer. Are you going to be customer of Russia and those guys? You're going to be our customer. He speaks about the EU in very specific terms, which let's see if you catch it. It seems pretty obvious to me.
And at this point, given all the dire warnings about ISIS, isn't Assad the lesser of the two evils? And does it make sense to join up with him to defeat this enemy of ours now?
Well, I mean, look, that's a policy question, but given the fact that in my role as chairman, I actually participate in fora where policy decisions are made. I
just don't think that I'm just some kind of dickhead here.
Some schmuck.
Yeah, I do participate. I'm actually running the show. Have you seen my nameplate, Beta Bakelite? I mean, look at my medals. You want to kiss my medals?
Certainly wouldn't be one that would suggest that we find the lesser of two evils here. I think there's enough credible partners in the region, in Europe. I mean, look, Europe ought to be as excited about this as we are. Because,
but they're not.
Well, no, but they should be. And you're going to ask me a question in a moment. I think about their eastern flank, but they ought to be concerned about their southern flank, because much of the effect of this instability and violence is making its way into Europe's southern flank. I just believe that with the right effort, we can find enough partners, both in the region and outside of it, who are credible in order to put the kind of pressure we need to on this organization.
So when you're talking about eastern flank, southern flank, those are very specific military terms.
Yeah.
And he's essentially saying you're surrounded and you should be delighted that we're helping you. Delighted you should be. Or do I misread that?
I don't know. I mean, the NATO thing is really what is supposed to be protecting them, and they're expanding. The NATO is getting bigger, which is not so well.
Well, not yet, not really.
Into the meme that goes around, especially amongst the right, that we promised that we weren't going to move eastward to the Russians at some point in part of a quid pro quo that was done with Gorbachev.
Well, there has, of course, been a change in the relationship, John.
Well, it turns out that we never made that promise.
Oh, really? Did we have our fingers crossed behind our back?
No, we never said anything. But it was the Germans that did it on their own.
Oh, yeah. Damn.
And Helmut Schmidt, I believe, one of them.
Kohl? Or
said or could have been. I don't have it in front of me. But whatever it was, he said, yeah, no, I'll tell you, here's the deal. We won't do. And so are you speaking for NATO? No, not really, but I'm pretty sure I can get this to work. And it was nonsense. We never made that promise. So, and that's why it's not in writing, because it was never done.
Well, here is the top military guy essentially showing us that there's been a change in the relationship, obviously, but he's going to document it for us now in this Dempsey in this forum.
Our concerns are not just about eastern Ukraine. I mean, this is a change in the relationship of Europe and Russia, and a change in the relationship of the United States and Russia. Now, I can't define for you today, as I sit here, what that change means. But I can certainly tell you that there is a change there must be now a change in that relationship. Look, since 2008, the Russian military has increased its capability, it's increased its proficiency, and it has increased the level of its activities, long-range aviation, air-launched cruise missile testing. They clearly are on a path to assert themselves differently, not just in Eastern Europe, but in Europe in the main and toward the United States. Now, I don't know where that takes us right now, but if you're asking me, do I think there's been a change in the relationship, I would have to say absolutely.
Okay. And there's always something that we need to put in is fear. We need to make people very afraid of things.
My fear is actually, if I have a fear about this, it's that Putin may actually light a fire that he loses control of. In other words, these ethnic enclaves, there's a rising tide of nationalism. And nationalism can be a very dangerous instinct and impulse. But we also, I think, probably should recognize that our concerns are not just about Eastern Ukraine. I mean, this is a change in the relationship of Europe. And
hold on a second. That's not what that goes into the other clip. Damn.
I want to hear the rest of that.
I think it's what I just played before.
Russia and a change in the relationship of the United States.
Yeah, that's what I played.
Russia. Now, I can't define.
Yeah, it's already been this. He had this thing about the apocalyptic thinking of them. I'm sorry, man, that pisses me off. I don't know what happened.
Just tell us.
He essentially said there's this apocalyptic thinking all around, and it's not just it's basically everybody else. In the Middle East, everyone on the Russian side, you're either with them or you're with the enemy. It was this weird thing that it doesn't work without me getting the clip for you. I'll get it for Thursday. There's so much more from this this conference. I'm sorry that clip somehow just messed up. I don't know what happened there.
Well, let me bring in something then. Please. That has it's a clip that confirms a couple of your memes that you like.
Okay, all right.
So there was a very strange show on Fox. Megyn Kelly kind of bumped her own show for an exclusive interview with, of all people, Bill Ayers.
This is the guy who influenced our president.
But he was also the guy who was the Weather Underground, bombed the Pentagon. He was American terrorist.
He was a radical in his day.
Yeah, and he still is, but not so much that he's going to bomb anybody, it seems. So she did a half-hour interview, and then you realize that Megyn Kelly, as pretty as she is and all the rest of it, is really a crappy interviewer. Instead of bringing the guy out, she just attacked him the whole half hour.
Oh, okay, I hate that.
And it's just attack, and he just said stuff like, "Well, Obama's like one of the worst presidents. He's got." He's droning people. He's running these crazy wars, essentially taking a Fox News anti-Obama side that she couldn't even deal with that because it was like, wait a minute, he would be saying this is probably good stuff. I should be agreeing with him here, but no, she just continues her attack
in Iraq, for example.
Wait.
I'm sorry.
That's not the clip. Oh. And that's the clip, but I'm not even halfway there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So she goes on attacking, and then they bring it. Then they finish the interview off, and you end up liking the guy a little bit because he's pretty honest. She accuses him stuff he didn't do, and all the rest. And then they bring in Denise D'Souza, who's he's the go-to guy for the intellectuals who want to just be pro right wing, and they get into this little argument, him and D'Souza, and Ayers brings up about 2 points that you're commonly making about brown people.
Oh, yeah.
She, of course, doesn't take any. She jumps over him as like some sort of a racist for bringing this up. And he makes a very interesting assertion about our relationship to some of these people we put in place, specifically Maliki. And as I suggested, might happen to the Turkish guy assassination. I didn't think about this, and you can play the clip and you'll see what I'm talking about.
In Iraq, for example, or in Afghanistan. Those are benign uses of American
We went into Afghanistan because the Taliban supplied monkey bars to the guys from 9/11 who attacked us directly.
Why didn't we go and get the guys who attacked us directly instead of overthrow a government?
I'll tell you why. Because the moment we got
kicked out, which is incidentally the entire history of the last 50 years of American foreign policy, is we go in under the guise of being beneficent and benign, and we go in under the lies of one president after another, and then we get booted out. And what do? We blame the brown guy. So it's al-Maliki. And I hope al-Maliki's read his history of Vietnam and sees what happened to Diem.
Bill, you think we're blaming al-Maliki for the mess in Iraq because he's brown?
There's no question that the United States...
Is that what you think?
I think that we always blame our clients. That's what I'm saying. So the United
That's
States,
a generalization. Do you think we're blaming al-Maliki for the mess in Iraq because he's brown?
I think we blame our clients, and our clients happen to be brown. So Diem, I hope al-Maliki's read about Vietnam. Diem got a bullet in the head from Kennedy, and that was because he had failed in Vietnam. We hadn't failed. We were perfect.
Wow.
So when of course she's oblivious to any of this analysis, and she's just attacking him. It's just she's just terrible at this interview, and she was so proud of herself. She did interstitials where they says, and next I call him out for being a bastard. And then they go back to the interview, and then they throw her in again, doing an interstitial, doing a stand-up, saying, and then in the next part, after this break, we're going to talk to him about this. And she's just beaming.
That is the hallmark of a crappy interview that didn't go your way, where you're going to chop it up and do your little voiceover thingies, your little interstitials to make it look good for you. That's an old television trick.
Didn't work.
Yeah. Well, that is borderline clip of the day. I love We like to go kill our clients. That's great. I found the Dempsey clip I was looking for.
Okay, we can go back to that.
There we go.
I think it's important for us to understand that as we look at these groups, whether we call them Salafist jihadists or religious extremists or violent extremists, it's important to both recognize the differences among them, because they are different. Some of them are opportunistic. Some of them seek to establish a sense of political Islam and theocracies under Sharia law. And some of them are apocalyptic, actually, meaning they have such a world view that it becomes of a magnitude that makes them, I think, especially dangerous. And ISIS, and as you know, I think the last S, it's the Islamic State of Iraq and al-Sham, and the ancient kingdom of al-Sham stretched from Lebanon to the current state of Israel to Syria to Jordan to Iraq and to Kuwait. So this is a group that has aspirations and seeks a sense of religious legitimacy. And that sense of religious legitimacy is as the heir to the caliphate. They actually, at least the senior leaders of ISIS, believe themselves to be the heir to the caliphate. They can only sustain that religious legitimacy if they continue to succeed. So this is not a group that can go halfway. It has to keep moving toward its ultimate end of days apocalyptic narrative, or it will lose support because it loses religious legitimacy. They're extraordinarily exclusive. You are not part of them unless you believe exactly what they believe.
Now, when I heard that, it reminded me of something else. We said, you are not part of them. What did he say exactly?
You're not part of them unless you believe exactly what they believe.
Legitimacy. They're extraordinarily exclusive. You are not part of them unless you believe exactly what they believe.
Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists.
All right, I just want to make sure. Exactly the same thing. Exactly the same.
Yeah,
thing.
George Bush.
Yeah.
Brutality in a way that's quite remarkable, even in the realm of terrorist organizations.
I love that meme. You mean they kill people in other ways? It was like, what is so bad? They kill people like everybody else kills people.
And they get away with it because they're succeeding. They have to be, at the very least, initially contained and then disrupted and then ultimately defeated. And what makes it very hard is that ultimate defeat has to come from within the Sunni population.
It can't come from us?
Well, it can be enabled and assisted by us, but at the point when we will be able to consider them defeated, it'll be because the moderate Sunnis of the world and the region reject them.
And I thought that was a pretty good
I'm not
spiel.
buying that.
Of course not, but I thought it was a good spiel for the way he needs to project to the world.
Could be.
I mean, yeah, of course, these are businessmen. They really are. You know, they're doing deals. They've got Turkey's embassy. They've rented that. You know, they've got a long-term lease.
No, that was the Kurds who rented that.
You're correct. But didn't ISIS set the Kurds up?
Yeah, they set the Kurds up, but they're not part of the Kurds are not part of that group.
Well, they're
just the guys doing the oil.
They're the bulldozers or whatever. Yeah, these guys do the oil. We make it all happen for you. So it's.
I wonder whether or not ISIS is a proxy for some CIA scam.
It seems so obvious to me. More Pentagon, I would say. It's part of the resource extraction unit. Go ahead and break everything open and get us this, and they're now back in Syria.
Because for one thing, a question that never comes up, I brought it up on a show right away, and I think you would agree with this. Why aren't, to encourage the formation of a new caliphate, and that's going to be flowing onto our shores any minute for some reason.
Yes.
They're going to come right over here because, they're in the middle of nowhere, and they're going to come right over here somehow on rowboats.
Because we got so much to gain over here.
Yeah, they're going to turn this into the Caliphate 2. But it seems to me if they're going to have a centralized government that's going to take over a huge part of an area and it's going to be centralized because it's going to be the Caliphate, it would be better than all these asymmetric battles that we keep taking with these these lone wolves and all these other a-holes that are just floating around doing God knows what. You can't keep track of them. This group you can keep track of. It's easier to attack a nation than it is to attack an amorphous group that you can't put your finger on. And
Yes.
so why doesn't somebody ask the question in one of these press conferences, isn't this better, this ISIS group, because they're going to become a country or some sort of a phony country that we can find, it'd be easier to knock them out because they have an army that's very definable. And that's what we're good at. We can take out that army.
Well, it seems to me that they're working on our behalf. They've set up
fishy about this whole lot.
Well, no, they've got Kirkuk and the Kurds have set it all up, and the oil is flowing, and we've got now they're back in Homs in Syria, so they're going to open that up for us and block Iran and Russia. It's clear that they're working for us. For us, I say for the globalists who
run the place
in Washington. Now that will actually lead us into Hamas, but I think we should take a little break here first. We've been, it's so much fun as we document the meta mess of the
21st century.
Yeah, which no one else is really seeing that way, I guess. I don't know.
Nobody cares. They got advertisers.
I'd like to say in the morning to you, John C. Dvorak.
In the morning to you, Adam Curry. In the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
And in the morning to everyone in the chat room. Chat room's weird today. I don't know what's going on there. I think we have disruptors coming in. NoAgendaStream.com.
We got to get some way of eliminating these phonies.
Yeah, no, people. I saw some kicking going on. It's fine. It's just not very helpful for the show. In the morning to all of our artists. Thank you very much, Patrick Buis, who brought us the artwork for episode 637, which was, how quickly we forget. By the way, I love it when you send us pictures of the show playing in your car on your in-car stereo with the artwork. Yeah, I like this piece of art, actually. It was the big hand on the big turning knob of the gas being connected between the EU and Russia.
Oh, right. That actually was very symbolic. It was a good piece.
Very nice piece. Very nice piece. You can find all the art that's submitted at noagendaartgenerator.com. We use a lot of that for newsletters, and of course, you can just use it it's pretty, print it out, hang it up around the house, at school.
I recommend it. Cheap posters.
Now, as John said, we don't have advertisers, which is why we can talk as long as we want, do whatever we want, as long as...
There's no hard breaks.
Which also means we can't really... There's no bathroom breaks, but...
Well, that's the determinate factor for the length of the show often.
Correct.
You gotta go to the can.
The older we get, the shorter the show.
There you go.
So we do have people who keep the show running, donors, people who give whatever they feel is appropriate for the value they receive from the show. It's a very small percentage, but the people who do donate help us out tremendously. And just like Hollywood, we have credits at the beginning of every show, more or less. These are opening credits. We had a long teaser for the show, well into the first hour. And these are executive producers and associate executive producers. And we, of course, highly appreciate what they do for us. And we are giving them their credits right up front. And we read their entire notes, since we don't have cool things like Hollywood has, like, drugs and actresses you can hang out with and cool rap parties. So this is the best we can do.
Well, let's thank a few people.
Please.
From Coimbra, Portugal, Pedro Vaz is Insta-Night.
Wow, is this our guy, Pedro? Or is this a different guy?
No, this is not our guy, Pedro. This is another guy.
He is now.
Yeah, he's now the man.
Wow.
Apparently, Coimbra is famous for its university founded in 1290. Now, that's what you call having a history.
Yeah, for real.
He lives in the Netherlands, though, and he's married to a Dutch babe.
Hey, now.
In general, the weather, the food, and the socialist mentality around here are pretty bad.
Yeah, the food, the weather.
Not necessarily in that order. Yeah, the food is needs work. But having lived in, although I don't know, I went with Ailman to all these fancy restaurants all over, up and down the whole country. And if you go to the expensive, cool restaurants, the food's pretty good. Anyway, but it's not cheap. Jan Edelman. But I lived in 9 different countries so far, including 3 years in the United States. I can say the country does work with an above-average efficiency. More details in future donations. I first heard about No Agenda on Twit 3 years ago and never cared to listen. Just irksome. The recurring now twice a week joke made it happen a year ago.
Isn't it crazy how the lamest things always work?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And that's about as lame as anything ever done.
Because, we become so jaded by doing things over and over again for a very long time. And you think, oh man, really that'll never be a hit record. That's so hokey, like Justin Bieber crap. And it works.
When I heard Adam Curry's name on the show, I couldn't believe it was the same guy from Countdown that I used to religiously watch back in '86 on the short-lived Europa TV.
That's right. I was a celebrity in Portugal.
I loved your show, Adam.
Aww.
I learned English because of you, man.
Obrigado.
Anyway, following No Agenda for the first time was hard.
Yeah.
You were dissecting news with strange jingles. And you had producer donation segments where people would ask for 2 to the head. I was about to give up when a producer asked for the Noodle Guy clip. This reverse MK Ultra deprogrammed and released me from the systematic mass media indoctrination.
It worked.
I have been trying to hit people in the mouth, but even with your mind-blowing analysis of the resource and weather wars, it has been hard, really hard. People in general, drones, just regurgitate whatever they hear in the media. They simply don't care. As a recognition for your hard work, here's my late donation. Sorry it took so long. I would like to be known as Serendipity. Cute. Serendipity.
Oh, day.
Hello.
Nice.
And if you have a stock, and if you have it in stock, bathe me with port in my knighthood ceremony.
What?
Port wine.
That would have to be port and what can we hand out along with port?
Port and olive oil.
Yeah, that's not quite the same as hookers and blow, but I could add it.
It's good olive oil in Portugal. In fact, I recommend
port and
people when you go looking for good quality extra virgin olive oil, look for the Portuguese stuff that they have it at a specialty shop.
I shall make
it's cheap.
Port and Portuguese olive oil.
Yeah, that would be good. I mean, it's very inexpensive. Everything coming out of Portugal is very inexpensive. They underprice everything. They've never figured out pricing. So everything.
When I was a celebrity in Portugal, the restaurants would, and this is when it was the third world country essentially in '86. It was even before that, I think '85. And restaurants would send what they considered a limo to to come and please have dinner at our restaurant. And the guy, I think we talked about this years ago. They gave me a bottle of port wine, which was bottled on my birthday, September 3rd, 1964. And I think when I turned 40, I opened it and drank it.
And?
Total crap.
Well, 64 was not a good year.
And I think, yes, and I think that's what you said when we discussed it previously. It was not a good year.
63, if you were born a year earlier, in 63, that was one of the greatest port vintages ever.
There you go.
63, 66 was good. 70 was really good, too. And then 77 was a stunner. But 64, no, there's no way that wine was going to be any good.
64.
It wasn't anybody's fault.
No, it's a dud year.
Not necessarily. 64 Chateau Petrus out of Bordeaux, you'd have one of the great experiences of your life. Anyway, sorry, it is not important. Anyway, sorry it took so long. Today is our daughter Sarah's second birthday. We're expecting our second human resource. Make sure she's on the list. He says, on January 1st, I know bad planning having 2 kids in a row, but karma for them and my wife, please. Douchebag call out. Here we go. For FS, douchebag, MP, douchebag, and FA, douchebag, for obeying. Finally, my shameless plug, 2 apartments for rent in The Hague.
Oh.
And you go to and I looked at them, reasonable price, $1,000 a month and $1,500. He says the Hague House, the THEHAGUE.house. And No Agenda listeners get 3% and producers get 7% off.
The Hague.house.
Yeah.
Does it look good? It's in The Hague, obviously.
There's apartments. It's apartments. It's what they are. What they are. The expensive one I think is nice. The other one is kind of low end. With this donation of $666 combined with my accumulated $4 weekly donation, I've surpassed $1,000. Actually bestowed the title of Sir John of Stratford, the Red Knight. Please.
I need to give some karma first to Pedro. You kind of jumped over all that.
Oh, I'm sorry. What am I? Yeah, I'm reading the wrong.
Yes, you are.
You've got karma.
No, but it'll be. We know
it's all blue. It's all blue. So I just kept reading.
Yeah, Sir Endipity, and we'll be knighting him, and then we have John.
Yeah, John's coming up next. I'm sorry, Pedro. So the Hague House, the Hague Dot House. I didn't know they had Dot House, but I guess they do.
Yeah, it's one of those nifty new things.
Anyway, you get a discount if you're a producer. I want to thank our Insta-Knight, Pedro, who is actually going to be named. What's his name up there?
Sir Endipity.
Sir Endipity, right. Duh. Sir John Adams, to be Sir John Adams from Stratford, Connecticut is next. And he's the one who, see, this blue ran into itself.
Yeah, I see it.
ITM John and Adam, John, a.k.a. Red, here with this donation of $666 combined with an accumulated $4 weekly donation. I've surpassed $1,000. Asked you to bestow the knight. Sir John of Stratford, the Red Knight, please play the jingle. Fuck cancer. Have I lost both parents and a good friend to it? Also, some karma, first to my family, then to you guys and my extended no agenda family.
Do you know, I discovered something looking at that 666 number. You have a Google Voice account, right?
Yeah.
And do you get text messages through that?
Yeah.
Do you ever go on to voice.google.com?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've had this for a long time, so it's filled up, and it has a limit.
Filled up.
Well, it has a limit. So at a certain point, it's you add one message or something, and then
you don't erase or archive them?
No, no.
Huh.
Do you know what the max number of the inbox is for the Google Voice box?
666.
Absolutely. And I kept looking at this number. I'm like, I'm getting more voicemails and texts, but it stays at 666.
What do they do with the other one? They're rolling them off?
I guess so. Yeah, they roll it off. Anyway, we'll be knighting you.
666.
We will be knighting you, Sir John of Stratford, the Red Knight, later on in the show. Thank you very much for your contribution.
You've got karma.
You have a jingle to play.
Citizens and slaves of Gitmo Nation, please rise in recognition of Sir David Foley, Grand Duke of the United States of America. Foley!
That is actually John Fletcher has composed an original piece of music, and he has the tablature and the the music available in PDF format. And the different parts for you to play along with the flute, trombone, or trumpet. For our Grand Duke of the United States, Sir David Foley, who once again checks in and helps us.
He seems to be checking in every Sunday with $333.33 from Los Gatos, California. ITM dude's name Ben. I would like to commend you for your courage and continually providing the best podcast in the universe. Short and sweet.
Thank you, Sir David Foley. And even though he didn't ask for it, I'd like to give him some karma. It's always helpful.
You've got karma.
I don't think you can ever really receive too much of it, you know?
It doesn't seem so.
Yeah.
Sir Random Hillbillies checked in, and we have a whoops. I just clicked on this thing, and off it went, flying down to the bottom. It won't come back. There it is. Okay. So Random Hillbilly from Elkins, West Virginia. That's your old stomping grounds.
Well, for a little while.
$333.33. So Random Hillbilly from Elkins. Dear John and Adam, currently in IETF in Toronto, or at IETF, which is, you can look that up. It's some
engineering task force, Internet Engineering Task Force.
Yeah, which is a big deal. Adderall levels critical.
What?
Weed levels extremely critical. I hope you have the courage to accept this donation. My goal is to become the Pelsmacher of Appalachia. Also, these are jingle-free donations. Cigar Dog of Sin City, also in Las Wages, Nevada, also known as 33333. Dear Vitriol and Magnificus, Sir Guard Dog of Sin City here wanted to donate $333 for 3 trips to the back room, but I'll accept 2 birthday shout-outs instead. Very impressed with the show of late. Possible tagline, come in for deconstruction, stay for the comedy. Also, you're pronouncing sash wrong. It should be pronounced sachet. I know this because cash is pronounced cachet. Can I guess this is Sir Guard Dog's version of high-end humor. Can I get a clippity-clop, don't eat me, Hillary, shouting LIFO, JCD Mac and Cheese, and a Dvorak.org/donate. Enough to be a knight someday. Happy birthday to my sainted mother, Claire, on July 29th, and a self-serving happy birthday to me, August 1st. Trying to figure out the best time to mail this, so it's last in, first out. Love you guys in a hetero-flexible way. If either of you two are in Vegas and need anything, your producer is here. Take care, and my best to you and your families.
The only thing I don't know where it is that song, Enough to Be a Knight. I don't know where that is.
What song?
He's asking the song. He said Dvorak.org/a donate enough to be a knight someday, but I don't remember what that song was. I don't remember what it's titled.
Yeah, right.
Really
I remember that. Well, why don't you play him a clippity clap, don't eat me, Hillary, LIFO.
Yeah, I got all that. And I'll just take a grab bag at something that may be what he was asking for.
It's clippity clop.
The message is clear.
Just clippity clop.
Eat me, Hillary Clinton.
LIFO!
You slaves can get used to mac and cheese. Cheap macaroni and cheap cheddar melted together.
Mac and cheese.
Say the whole thing.
You've got karma.
It wasn't what he was looking for, but it was.
Yeah, well, there's too many clips. Yeah. I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Sir Paul Kraut. Another 333. It's 333.
It's from the Evil Kraut brothers.
Hi, everybody. The Evil Kraut brothers are making this donation to ensure liberty, crazy speech, perky breasts, and bad science. Adam, please give your patented shout out to Eleanor.
He's a constitutional lawyer.
You got that down.
Yeah. Sir Kraut brothers of 89th and Bluegrass.
President, these two brothers are trying to buy America. They not only funnel money through their Americans for.
I don't know how.
Yeah, these two brothers.
Yeah.
even.
Here we go.
You've got karma.
They are evil. They're trying to buy America.
Baron Sander von Hochsbergen in Zaandam. 252. And thank you for a little sanity in this insane world. Thanks to Miss Mickey on Twitter. Smiley face. I don't know what went on there, but okay. Mm-hmm. Side note, not to read, so I won't read it. How about giving him a karma?
Yeah, well, of course I'm going to give him a karma. He's Baron Sander.
You've got karma.
Hey.
Sir Arthur Hugger of Kitties.
Hey, by the way,
another guy right down the street in Zaandam.
Just because people said they like your harmonica doesn't mean you have to fill up half the show with it.
I'm only filling up during this segment because it's in my hand. Dear John and Adam, I truly regret to have to stoop so low as to mention I really enjoy your show, but I must mention I cannot agree with everything you both say, unquote. You get it?
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah, okay. Oh.
I have to stoop even lower because I need to call both of you out as douchebags.
Oh?
Adam mentioned last show the Netherlands does not produce anything noteworthy, and John didn't call him out on that. I did call him out on that. So only Adam's the douchebag.
Well, wait a minute.
I'm completely stunned. Me and my cats were sitting in front of the slave speaker listening to the horse dung. We were looking at each other teary-eyed in an unbelievable cause. We are in the Netherlands. We are producing the best podcast in the universe. Now, de-douche yourself.
Okay, so I get it. So I'll douchebag myself, and then we do. I got it.
You've been de-douched.
That's, of course, he's right. He is a producer producing the best podcast in the universe from the Netherlands.
Right, and here he is again producing.
That's
and
cool,
go get Baron Sander and guys go have a beer on us.
Yeah.
Jason Peterson, $200 in Kearney, Nebraska. ITM gentlemen, please send me a shot of karma, and it's science. Courage and kittens.
Yeah, okay.
You've got karma.
The science is in. Science!
And then finally, Jennifer Lovberg in San Marcos, California, $200. She has no notes. She did write us before talking about some issues that she did. Apparently, she can't get her husband to listen to the show.
Right.
And which is distressing, I would assume. But no note on this one, so we're closing the segment out. We're reminding people we do have a show coming up on Thursday. It'll be show 639. This 638. Want to thank everyone. Go to Dvorak.org/NA and help us continue our trek toward stability.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And of course, we always appreciate you doing what you can to go out there and propagate the message.
Our formula is this.
Formula.
We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Formula, message,
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
A quick little bit of feedback, John, that we received.
Feedback?
Feedback.
Feedback. Here's the feedback theme.
Dogs everywhere. Perk up.
How's that?
Great. Chris the Viking says, "Hey, Adam, I wanted to chime in on the number string from Christine Lagarde."
Yeah.
And
we actually had a lot of people chime in on this.
He has a very interesting calculation, but I'm going to paraphrase. In the clip you played on YouTube a few times, I see I got July 27th from it, which is today. First, she refers to 7 as a standalone number. Then she stated the odd G7 or G20. Since the 7 was established, the second 7 should be used with the 20, making 27, which is the 27th is, no, it is... here
Today.
The thing that really caught my attention is that if you ask Siri, I don't have an iPhone, but if you ask Siri... what happens on July 27th? Siri answers, opening the gates of Hades.
What?
H-A-D-E-S. Hades? Is that Hades or Hades? Hades, yeah. So apparently, if you ask Siri, that's the iPhone, fake woman, what happens on July 27th, and I encourage people to do that, Siri answers, opening the gates of Hades. And
wow.
And then he goes on.
That's today.
Yes. In numerology, the symbols or numbers can be inverted or mirror imaged and even reduced. So if you reduce 27 to its root of 3 nines and invert them, 666.
Invert them. I got a letter from a guy we should note, because this is this knighthood section of the show. Except we didn't give the knighthood yet. In the morning, great sir. This comes from Dwayne Lively. Been listening to some past shows. I do listen to the most recent show and then go back. And in one of the shows, you asked about how Americans could take knighthoods from the Queen of England, given that we are prohibited from having any royal titles. The fact of the matter is that Americans can't legally receive knighthoods. Instead, they are given as honorary knighthoods,
right,
and with a medal and no real legal status.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, that means your knighthoods are as legit as those from the Queen, and she doesn't even make people executive producers.
Exactly. You got a benefit.
We got a better. Yes, we're better. Better.
Try and take your knighthood and joining the Producers Guild of America. Good luck with that. With your Queen of England knighthood.
Right, our knighthood, which gives you the producership,
exactly.
You can join up.
Exactly.
By the way, we also called out a number of letters about the
poll rolling.
Yes, and one of them condemned you
for not knowing it,
because they say it's all over Texas except in Austin, where the liberals won't let any such thing occur. I don't know why he condemned you. You got nothing to do with the liberals in Austin.
But here's what I've seen some YouTube videos now, and I guess this started with the battery cars. And of course, I'm all against battery cars. That you modify your truck. And
wait, we got a no agenda battery car. How can you be against that?
No, but Priuses.
Oh,
so
okay.
There's videos.
Austin must be crawling with Priuses.
Yes, and there's lots of videos on YouTube. I didn't know it was big in Texas. I see lots of people say Ohio, Tennessee, and then you have this modified thing in your truck, and you roll up next to them. You flip the switch, you hit the gas, and this big plume of black smoke floods the Prius. But I saw videos of guys doing it to bicyclists, and they're just assholes. I don't like it. Yeah, the guys biking on the road, like, ha, 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 yeah, fuck those bikers. We're going to get black smoke in their face. It's really irritating. It's a real redneck shit thing to do.
Well, it's a really bad thing to do because the particulate that comes out, it was just a lot of carbon, but it's a lot of other particulates.
Yeah, it's poisonous.
It's poisonous. It's actually
it's not good.
No, it's not good.
And then I haven't gotten one of these emails in a long time, but this comes from someone I've answered emails from and sent emails to for a couple of years. And this email was so out of the blue, and I wanted to find out if you could help me decipher what happened. This is from Pim Ohm, OHM. I don't know if he's donated or not. And it's the title is I'm out ... Well, I gave it a try, but you are by far the biggest arrogant elitist cocksucker around. And I wouldn't pound my chest as much over being an aviator. You are a hobby pilot with a bought license, which probably isn't valid anymore anyway. I wouldn't trust you taxiing a Cessna on a clear day. Good luck.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
And I asked him why. And then he didn't respond for a day. And I said, well, as expected, no reply, just a chicken shit accusation, low life. That's me, right? Because
there you go.
I'm into this. I'm like trying to understand, where does this come from? His response, sorry for not responding right away like you always do. Unfortunately,
I'm surprised it's not the guy with the gruffer voice.
Sorry for... let me try him. Sorry for not responding right away like you always do. Unfortunately...
I think the other voice sounds more realistic.
Sorry for responding right away like you always do. Unfortunately, I have to work for a living. Implying we don't. But you hit the nail on the head. Low life. If this conversation in German, you would have called me an Untermensch. So I guess I said something on the show that somehow made me a Nazi or something.
Is he from Germany?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. Yeah, he's like, and this went on I got bored of it because tell me.
You can find the IP addresses in your header and you figure out what country he's in.
Yeah, but that would be too much work.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but it's just, why don't you just tell me what you're pissed off about? I guess maybe it's something about Ukraine or the neo-Nazis, whatever.
No.
He says, I'm surprised John didn't call you out on it.
On what?
But whatever it is.
Every once in a while you say something I'm tempted to call you out on, but it's usually some passing thing. You will say occasional things that are kind of funny, and it's humor.
Yeah.
I don't know. If it's anything that's important, I'll call you out on it, but this obviously wasn't.
Well, he's really pissed off and hates me.
Something ticked him off. Something you said. It happens to me, too, once in a while I get a letter like this. Some little thing that was just in his craw, and you just pushed it in deeper somehow.
And that's why I responded, because I've had correspondence with him for several years, and I figured, maybe his wife left him, he ran over his dog. This happens, and then people go, oh, sorry, man.
Take down on you.
Yeah, that happens. But no, he's like, riddle me this. If you can figure it out, I'll donate $33 a month. I'm like, you know what? I'm done with you.
What? That wasn't on there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It kept going. That's stupid. Okay, you don't know. We don't know. Whatever. I'm sorry.
Okay, whatever.
Can't help
I'm sorry you had to read that note.
Well, I felt I should read it because maybe someone can help me out.
I don't think it's possible.
Okay, I've done something for our show today. First of all, you need to play some clips. I need to be entertained.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I got the Barbara Boxer. You want an entertaining one? I do have one. Here we go.
Everything you do is
just to make you feel better, I have Anthony Bourdain's got a new show where he has like a stopover. He got an hour in some city. It's supposed to be like a stopover. So he rents a car and he goes all over the place.
This is the cooking guy on CNN?
Yeah, the cooking guy. But he's got a new show where it's called Stopover, Layover, I think.
And this is on CNN?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question before you lead into this? Why is it that on the news channel, CNN, we don't have news? On MTV, the music channel, we don't have music. On the History Channel, we don't have history. There's no discoveries on the Discovery Channel. When did this memo go out?
Yeah, it's called ratings.
Ah, yes, okay.
Now, so Bourdain is going on about something that's confirming one of your basic theories of the entertainment business. He's got it a little different than you have it, but the main thesis is exactly what you're always saying. So hit it.
I'm trying to think what I'm always saying.
You'll get it.
Okay. 13 hours until my plane, and uncharacteristically for me, I'm heading to Hollywood Boulevard, the very heart of the desperate, touristy, moronic inferno.
You know what's really amazing about celebrities? Like, they're not just short, but they're really tiny. They're really, really, really skinny because the camera adds 10 pounds, believe me. So they are all freakishly skinny and tiny, short, with huge heads.
Yeah!
They're like E.T. Big head equals success. Direct proportion. Tiny body, big bobblehead.
Exactly. This is it. If the bigger the head, the more success.
That's what he said.
Yeah. That's right.
I was stunned.
Oh, he's obviously a very intelligent entertainment executive. He knows. I'm always looking for a big head. Your head's pretty big. You're good. You look good on TV.
It's not massive.
No, but it's big enough.
Yeah, I think it's just big enough that it's okay.
And I knew that this was really true when I met Pat Sajak and Vanna White. Vanna White is a teeny little girl, but her head is so big. You'd imagine she'd tip
exactly
over.
What he said.
Yeah, you imagine she'd tip over. Like, it's just the head is, like a baby can't hold his head up.
Yeah.
That's when you look at Vanna White in person. It's like, hey, girl, do you want me to hold that head or something? She's going to roll over on your shoulder and snap.
So I got a clip of, this is one of my favorite clips of this show. This is General Hayden with Aaron on CNN. Hayden, the ex-CIA guy, the guy that should be indicted, the pro-torture guy who keeps showing up to make. He's now in Aspen that is I think the event you were at,
and he's also he does moderation. I guess that's a part of it. He can moderate panels and
so he decides he's going to start talking with Aaron about some of these issues that are going on that in the world, but I think it's Ukraine mainly. But he's decided that he's going to tell her, he's going to actually go off script. And start making things up. He says, I'm going to make some stuff up. He's imagining what's really going on. He's going to express that on CNN, and here's what happens.
Theories out there are either Vladimir Putin is positive Europe's going to do nothing to stop him, and the United States is going to be a bit of a eunuch about this, or that Vladimir Putin is actually losing power himself, and the situation may be beyond his control, and that could be much, much scarier. Which do you think it is?
Well, there's a sequence here, Aaron. You saw what he did in the Crimea. Illegal, but quite masterful. And then I think he began to fear he was losing control of his proxies in the Ukraine. Remember the big riots in Odessa where 40 people were killed? He went a little quiet then, reduced the number of troops on the border, even said a few positive things about the Ukrainian government. And then in late June, early July, the Ukrainians got their military act together. They began to push against the separatists. They had very good military success. And this part now, Aaron, I'm making up a bit. But
the Ukrainian military was going to actually...
All right. Looks like we just lost the general again. But, at least he was able to answer those questions. And I'm sorry we had to lost him there. I do want to go.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me that he's on CNN. He says, I'm going to make some crap up right now. And then the control room goes, oh, no, pull the plug.
You can listen to it. This is what it looks like to me.
You get it, sir. This is a good one. I like it like that.
Clip of the day.
Wow. Yeah, and why not? Why not? I wonder what he made. I wonder what he was going to make up.
I don't know, but it was probably
kind of interesting.
They didn't want it, whatever it was.
I like how he kind of skips over this part of the. And by the way, he said the Crimea. He said
maybe
the Crimea and the Ukraine, and really, this is the guy who was in charge of stuff.
That's what I can say. I do have this clip from 2011. I want to play this just as a shorty. This is Hillary's commentary where Al Jazeera is great to watch. Remember when she said that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. We're in a media war.
Well, this is a different one. That she was sitting down. And there's two things about this clip that are interesting to me. This was done in 2011. One is that she says Al Jazeera is a good news source compared to the American media, which is bullcrap. But it's the life in her voice, which seems to have disappeared. She is lively in 2011. This is 2014. She is now sounding like, I think the brain damage thing may have some validity. Listen to her.
Viewership of Al Jazeera is going up in the United States because it's real news. You may not agree with it, but you feel like you're getting real news around the clock instead of a million commercials and, arguments between talking heads and the kind of stuff that we do on our news, which, is not particularly informative to us, let alone foreigners.
Well, she was amped up. I think when you're doing all the travel, look at Kerry. He's now doing the same job essentially. He's amped up. He's running around.
Yeah, I think they were also amped up for more reasons than just running around.
Drugs, absolutely. They've got to have. There's no way you can survive this as a human being. It's like being on tour. You have to. You got to uppers, downers.
These guys are all
sleeping pills.
Uppers, downers, you name it.
Yeah. What do you call it? Amphetamines?
Yeah,
maybe
Adderall.
Maybe Adderall. Yeah.
Well, it's just amphetamines.
Yes, that's the only ingredient in Adderall, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It's a joke.
Amphetamine, right? It says it right there in the bottle. I took a little time because we've kind of been avoiding it, and I don't think we can anymore, to just evaluate and do a quick analysis of the most recent Israel-Palestine thing, Hamas. Because basically all we're seeing on television is just a whole bunch of people yelling. And it's confusing to me because this essentially ruins one of the main conspiracy theories of the media age, which is that Jews control the media. And that clearly cannot be the case, because the media is essentially calling Israel out as, killers, baby killers. And to the huge chagrin of the leaders of Israel. And as I kind of hunted around, I see people say, "Oh, this started with the 3 teenagers who were kidnapped." It turns out there was something else that happened just last month that I think I'm not tuned into it. And I find the whole situation annoying, and all my life I've seen this bull crap going on there. But there is something very specific that's happened. I just wanted to lay it out. It's not. I have no answer or anything, but it's a little bit of analysis, because we have this Israeli Defense Forces and the Palestinians, which could be Hamas. And by the way, I love pronouncing Hamas because it's almost like Dutch, Hamas, and I can do that. Can you say Hamas?
Hamas.
Hamas. So this happened in 2012, 2009. The joke is it's time to mow the grass again. But it's always kind of the same result. Massive civilian casualties in Gaza, infrastructure losses, and big international image problems for Israel. This time, though, it seems a little bit worse, and I wanted to understand what all the pieces were and why Kerry was in Egypt. And now I understand much better. Also, you do have to, I hate to say it, but people, you got to get the map. You got to look at Gaza, where it is, and you see that it borders on Egypt. But which, you don't really think of that. If you don't look at it, you'll never know. You're not being told by your media. So Israel has always wanted to keep kind of the status quo. And this goes back to what you said about it's better to have ISIS kind of as a managed entity so that, you don't have a whole bunch of crazy groups running around. And Hamas, in a way, is a bit like that, because you have there's lots of crazy groups and they're kind of keeping them in check. And Palestine and the Gaza region, they do have an actual kind of form of government. They have civil servants and there's a payroll, which is all part of this most recent problem. But up until last month, there's always been this kind of division. You had on the governance of Palestine, you had Abbas with his Fatah political party, and you had the fundamentalist Hamas. They've always kind of been, they've split. They've always been, I think 2007, they've been at odds, which is advantageous to Israel because there was never really one big, strong governmental front coming out of this region, a small part of the region. But something changed, and that is on June 2nd, the Palestinians formed the unity government. And we didn't discuss this. And I can remember the word unity government, but I didn't really look at it or think about it. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, of course. This is when Hamas got the head in the tent.
Yeah, I didn't understand this had happened. So before this unity government, you had the two separate governments, the Fatah mainly in the West Bank and Hamas in the Gaza Strip. And so, of course, no one likes this. The Israeli government obviously condemned the unity government because it says Hamas is a terrorist organization. And this kind of started around 2011, Arab Spring, et cetera, et cetera. Now, at the time, we had Morsi in Egypt from the Muslim Brotherhood, good pals of Hamas. And they have all these tunnels going from Egypt, supplying everything into Gaza, money, weapons, food, medicine, lions. I'm doing research like 2 lions coming through a tunnel. This is crazy.
What?
Yeah. Smuggling lions in. Who knows? Pets. I don't know. And then, of course...
This has to be looked into.
Yeah, I links in the show notes. And then the power in Egypt changed. Sisi came into power. And the Muslim Brotherhood was categorized as a terrorist group. And then all the supply tunnels that went underneath the border were blocked. So there's nothing going in. And you recall there was, I think it was a Dutch politician or ambassador, and he was trying to get the payroll for Hamas and the unity government paid by Qatar through some end around, and that was blocked. Of course, Qatar, everyone's big supporters of Hamas. So what's happening now, and now I finally understand, is there's this standoff where you have, and I think that's what Kerry's trying to do, you have nothing coming in. So these people are maybe even starving for all I know. There's nothing's coming in. They're shooting off as many rockets as they can. And that's really the part where the media picks it up. Oh, they're shooting rockets. But, there's 1.7 million people with nothing coming in. You can't do this very long. So you either have to let them have something or kill them all, or they're going to run out. And it will be a intifada, essentially, that would be the most horrific thing in the world. And I think that is what the real crisis is right now. And no one's really explaining it that way, because all you continuously see is just rockets this, rockets that, dead babies. So now at least you understand where you have this region that's been blocked off by Egypt. And I think something has to happen there. But there's a secondary problem, which I didn't really buy into until I started to research it a little bit more. And this ties into a much larger scenario about the gas off the entire region, really, of the Mediterranean. And I'll call it the Levant, if you don't mind, just to use an ISIL term. So we have this gas, and this is what I found out is prevalent off the coast of Egypt, but also goes underneath these countries. It's not just in the water. Egypt, Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, Turkey. A Norwegian company called Ansys and another one called Sagex in 2003, there's an interesting year for you when we went into Iraq, discovered these reserves, particularly the Syrian reserves, which apparently are larger than Qatar's gas reserves. Ansys was then acquired by Veritas, which is a French-American company based in London. And this is when they started the group, and you'll remember this, Friends of Syria. Remember that?
Yep.
And they had the Working Group on Economic Reconstruction and Development. And they really started getting serious around May of 2012, and they did these meetings in the United Arab Emirates. And essentially what they were doing is they were carving it all up. The only thing that had to happen is we just had to get that irritating, Assad out. Now, you back up a little bit. In 2007, in July, the new special envoy of what was then known as the Quartet, the UN, the EU, Russia, and the USA, Tony Blair, negotiated an agreement between the Palestinians and the Israelis to exploit the Marine 1 and Marine 2 fields off of Gaza. And Salam Fayyad, the prime minister of the Palestinian Authority at the time, agreed that British Gas would pay royalties due to the Palestinian Authority, and I guess it was going to be in bank accounts in London and D.C., to guarantee that the money wouldn't be used, to kill Israelis, but for economic development. But then Israel, discovered Noble Energy, the Texas company, Clinton helping them, discovered the Leviathan, which is off the coast of Israel, but it's also off the coast of Lebanon, and also goes further into Syrian waters. And this is a big part of what is also going on is to grab all of this, to have that entire coast of the Mediterranean. And I think this is why Israel is a big swinging dick, because they want to take it all. And we know that Wes Clark has said Lebanon is definitely on the list of the Wes Clark 7 to take over. And essentially sell this to Europe to become a player. But somehow, when the regime changed in Egypt, and I guess we had nothing to do with that. Somehow someone screwed up there, and probably Tony Blair. That's when everything changed, and now everything is helter-skelter and all askew, because no one's really living up to their agreements, and this whole setup is kind of falling apart. And I suspect that the United States globalists, the Atlanticists, may have a hand in doing this on purpose.
That's a possibility. I mean, there's definitely something else going on besides these idiotic missiles going back and forth.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's all the news is about. It's very super. This is the coverage of the situation, which why we haven't discussed it.
Yes.
Because the coverage, no matter where you go for it, is so superficial.
Yeah.
That we can't even get, we can't drill down. There's not a resource for us to drill down into. And unless we're going to start hitting, starting to do some deeper online.
Well, that's what I started to do.
Yeah. Online research, because there's nothing. The media is giving us giving us no foothold at all. It's horrible.
Zero.
Which is what I bitched about in the last newsletter.
And this is on deep online research, as deep as I can go.
Yeah, and he's probably still superficial, relatively speaking, to some of the stuff that we've been able to uncover.
But I did get one clip. Because of course, the thing that we can never understand, because just like we can't understand Russians can't understand us. We can't really understand the Brits. We certainly can't understand brown people living in the sand. It's not our culture. We'll never truly understand. We're different. Chinese. We're all different, and we all have Japanese. Everything. Everyone has a different culture, and you can't just say, "Oh, we're all people." No, it just doesn't.
Old fallback.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
We're all people, man.
Hey, man,
we gotta get along,
dude. Can't we just get along, dude? And then, of course, there's the religion thing, which I don't buy in any case. But I just don't buy it. That this is all about religion and the Jews and the Arabs and the Muslims. Yeah, sure, it may be something that you can control a population with. It's like his book says this, and even the Muslims are fighting because he's supposed to be Muhammad. No, he's going to be Muhammad. He has the caliph, and we're going to kill each other over this. Fine. But I heard Bill Maher explain. I would say he's explaining the difference between Jews and Muslims, and essentially why Jews are better. And Bill Maher is a Jew. And I was really blown away by this explanation.
Right. Let's make sure to describe it right. He's a Jewish, culturally atheist, religion-hating Jew.
Yes, correct.
I mean, like hating. He hates.
Well,
literally, hates on religion.
Yeah, he did a movie about it. But he actually brings in a new religion, which is the interesting part of his explanation.
Can we ask why Israel wins all the time? Because they've won every war. They have to. If they hadn't won every war, they wouldn't exist. I mean, you can't go 8-1 and be Israel. You kind of have to go 8-0 every year. So I think it has something to do with the fact that they believe in science and education.
No.
I mean, Jews have... I think 155 Nobel Prizes, and Muslims have 2. I'm not now. Maybe it's who you know, but that seems like kind of a big advantage for Team Hebrew. And I think that has. I mean, most scientists are atheists. I don't think you can be an atheist scientist in the Arab world. I think that has something to do with the fact that they're always having this incredible advantage in war, and then having to apologize. I'm sorry, we're winning so bad.
All right.
I am flabbergasted. I am speechless by this analysis from Mr. Maher.
Unbelievable.
Bingo, boom, boom, chakalaka, boom, 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 chakalaka, boom, boom.
And I would like to point out that many of the best doctors come from Iraq. Many very highly educated researchers, scientists. But of course, a Nobel Prize is, I guess that proves everything.
Yeah.
And I would kind of say a lot of civilization was invented there. But, if you believe in God, then, but if you believe in science, which is the new religion.
Yeah,
you're
right.
Religion.
But we brought this up before, that science is a religion.
Yeah, but it's always good to stay on the stick.
Even though, as such, real science is not, because there's no faith involved. It's just experimentation and confirmation and more questioning than just taking everything, the science is in, 97% agree. That's when you say 97% agree, that is the most unscientific thing you could say. This is a denial.
Yeah, it's actually contrary to science.
Yeah, because it's not possible. I have a clip then. I thought this was kind of nutty sounding. This is a very short clip of Obama. We're having this thing, this reversal of income flow to foreign.
I saw this. I have this clip too. Yes, I saw this.
You may have a longer version.
That's all right. The longer version is too long.
We're having a business in the United States is up for grabs from foreign entities, because you can buy an American company and then pull the company out of the country and headquarter it someplace else. And the amount of money you save on taxes damn near pays for the acquisition.
Let's be very specific about it. It's the Irish Dutch sandwich. And this is what the Russians are taking advantage of. But you have the money flows into a company in Ireland. The profits are then shuttled to a Dutch BV, and because there's no holding tax literally on Dutch BV, so you can have the money there, but you don't have to pay tax on it. Then you shuttle it back to Ireland, and you effectively wind up with a tax rate of about 1%, a corporate tax rate. And what I like this, what the president said, by the way. I like the entire speech. But he's a pussy, because he should just call the people out who are doing this. I didn't understand that.
Well, there's a couple of things going on. I didn't like what he said, because I don't like the idea. I don't like the concept that he outlines, with the economic patriotism.
That's the part that I think is genius. He's calling people unpatriotic. This is fantastic.
It's I don't know what perspective it's genius, what world it's genius in. It seems to me to be chicken shit.
In the world of propaganda.
But these companies, you think everyone's going to pay attention to this because it's got a cool propagandistic sound? What he should do, if he wants to play the game solidly, is go with the corporations or people. If you're a person and you're doing this with your money overseas, when you owe it to the federal our income tax structure, the Treasury Department, you have to write your checks out to people outside
United States Treasury.
You write it right to the government, and you send them a check.
Janet Yellen.
And
no, not her. No,
it's like
Cohen.
You pull it in. So if you have money floating around outside, you pull it in. Why don't they do this with the corporations, since they're people? But that's the way I see it. But let's go with this, with what he has to say. This is the short version.
And I'm not interested in punishing these companies, but I am interested in economic patriotism. Instead of doubling down on top-down economics, I want an economic patriotism that says we rise or fall together as one nation and as one people.
Okay. So I have a different clip. This was him on the road.
Yeah, this was him on the road. And what galls me is that while he's talking a big game about economic patriotism, we have a State Department that doesn't give a crap about the United States, as you mentioned at the beginning of the show.
Globalists, because they're globalists.
They're globalists, and and everything's got to be one world government. We're going to defer to the United Nations. We're going to take away our sovereignty and all the rest of it. Meanwhile, these corporations who are just trying to do a favor, because it's a scam ripoff, even though many of them get around it in all kinds of different tricky ways. But just at the base level, it's a scam ripoff to pay so much taxes as a corporation. All your profits go to the government. I mean, 33% is high. Anyway.
And the people in the corporation get taxed.
And they get taxed. And then when
double taxation.
You have to buy the goods with your taxed dollars. It's already taxed. So I make $1 to buy a product for $1. I only have 70 cents left. And so I have to make $2 to buy this thing. And then, anyway, go on with your clip. Sorry.
No, that's okay. It's interesting we both caught this because I thought the idea of calling out companies is unpatriotic because of the way they get around the taxes. And this is his podcast. Which, as you know, I subscribe to the podcast with the podcast app.
I think it's up to 300 subscribers now.
Sometimes he gets 2,000 views.
Oh.
Yeah. It's poorly produced. It's really shit. It's written shittily. You know, Valerie Jarrett is sitting there next to the prompter. And we always start off with a hefty, "Hi, everybody."
Hi, everybody. Our businesses have now added nearly 10 million new jobs over the past 52 months. The unemployment rate is at its lowest point since September 2008.
Oh,
the fastest one-year drop in nearly 30 years.
With the low participation, so what?
Because hey, you want to rewrite the script? What do you want them to say? Hey, we're sucking over here. Everything blows. We got people holding up signs in the highway begging for money. No.
Oh, guy, talking about that, by the way, not to get off the subject, but underneath our roads around here in Berkeley, there are more tent cities.
It's in Austin. I've seen the difference in the 2.5 to almost 3 years we've been here.
Yeah,
it's significant.
Yeah, tent cities.
Yeah,
we have one under the freeway over here. I got to give somebody to drive me by so I can take a movie of it. And then they're off the freeway.
So you can exploit them. Good.
I think it should be, I think you should at least point it out to people. And then over there by the University Avenue exit on Alpha Highway 80, there's a tent city that's just cropped up.
How big? How many tents do you estimate?
Well, over in Berkeley, there's probably about 9. But under the freeway over here on Gilman Street, it's both sides of the underpass filled. Probably 30 tents.
Yeah, so we have this at the old house, which was right near I-35 in the classier neighborhood, which, don't get me wrong, we got motorcycle gangs living down the street who are nice. You know, it's like we got all these 15, 20 people hanging out there, and they're all, they all have the same sign, and they're walking up and down, collecting money, and the big trash dump, and they're living in the woods in the corner there, and they're breaking into houses and cars.
Where's this? In your new neighborhood?
Old neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
This neighborhood, this is a very spotty. So everyone here is like, hey, we're the neighbors. Hey, I'm Manuel. I take care of you.
Yeah, if every neighbor knows each other and then they keep track of each other, it's much safer, even though it seems less high end.
Yeah, we got Matt and Mary in the back, and they got a dog who they're training. So you can't come into our yard without going past their dog. It's a beautiful thing. But yeah, it's a problem.
401ks are growing. Fewer homes are underwater. And for the first time in more than a decade, business leaders around the world have declared that the world's number one place to invest is not China, it's the United States of America.
Really? Is that true?
Yeah, because they can buy our companies, move the headquarters overseas, and save a fortune.
Hey, now!
And our lead is growing.
Yeah.
None of this is an accident.
No. It's all my planning. Careful planning. I'm awesome.
It's thanks to the resilience and resolve of the American people that our country has recovered faster and come farther than almost any other advanced nation on earth.
Oh, yes.
What channel is this guy watching? Seriously. It's the resilience of you living in the tent. Good work.
These tents are all, you're right. I'm stunned at the number of tents that are cropping up on a day-to-day basis.
It's pathetic.
And this wasn't, you're right. A year ago, there was none of these tent cities. Here's what I want to do. I wanted to get some signage made. I got my big printer. I can make some vinyl stuff and bring it over there and have these guys hold it up and say Obamaville.
That's been done, though.
It has?
Oh, yeah, many times. You can Google it. There's lots of Obamavilles around the country.
Oh, I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, then forget it.
But you could have them hold up a no agenda sign.
This is what no agenda got me.
But there's another trend that threatens to undermine the progress you've helped to make. Even as corporate profits are as high as ever, a small but growing group of big corporations...
Now, this is the chicken shit thing. Why don't you just call them out? Google, Apple, why don't you call them out?
...are fleeing the country to get out of paying taxes. They're keeping most of their business inside the United States But they're basically renouncing their citizenship and declaring that they're based someplace else just to avoid paying their fair share.
Yeah. Love it.
Now, I want to be clear.
Yeah, let me be
There's
clear.
only a few big corporations so far.
Yeah, Apple.
Google. Yeah, does Yahoo does that too, don't they?
Probably.
I think so. But why? Chicken
Smart
shit.
Money does it.
Does Amazon? I think Amazon must be doing it.
No, I don't know if Amazon can do it.
Oh, right. Yeah, different structure. Yeah. But yeah, Apple and Google, main guy, unpatriotic douchebags.
The vast majority of American businesses pay their taxes right here in the United States.
I do.
But when some companies cherry pick their taxes, it damages the country's finances.
Yes.
It adds to the deficit. It makes it harder to invest in the things that will keep America strong. And it sticks you with the tab for what they stash offshore.
Oh, no!
The best way to level the playing field is through tax reform that lowers the corporate rate, closes wasteful loopholes, and simplifies the tax code for everybody. But stopping companies from renouncing their citizenship just to get out of paying their fair share of taxes is something that cannot wait.
No.
That's why in my budget earlier this year, I proposed closing this unpatriotic tax loophole for good.
Unpatriotic it is. So I think, we should all boycott these companies. But no.
It's every company.
I don't know.
Any company that can do it does do it for the shareholders' benefit. I don't see that it's anything you would condemn them for. I mean, it's just look what we can do. We can have more money. We can make more money. We just have to do it this way. And yeah, okay, it doesn't go here, but you get it. You get the dividend. The price of the value of the company goes up. We can do more things. It's just you'd be malfeasance if you did not do it and you could. That's what's always overlooked in these big debates.
Right.
That if you can do this, why aren't you doing it?
Right.
Oh, we're not doing it because we're patriotic. Well, you're losing money. Okay, well, we better do it then. Anyway, it's just this dumb. I think it's superficial crap that he even brings this up.
No, I just thought the unpatriotic was a new way of discussing it. And I guess that's maybe supposed to get people all riled up. But
who's he kidding?
Yeah, I thought he was going to call people out. Remember that?
Yeah, that's right. He used to say he was going to call people.
Call him out.
He's not calling out Apple.
No, or Google.
So I was watching Meet the Press, I guess, with Chip.
Yeah, Chip Gregory.
Meet the Press guy, right?
Yeah, that's him.
It's either Face the Nation or I think it's Meet the Press.
Chip is
what's
Chip
her name?
Yeah.
Chip. So is she the Goldfarb's wife, whatever her name is.
Goldfarb's wife. Let me Andrea Mitchell?
Yeah, Andrea Mitchell.
Nailed it. Goldfarb's wife. Okay.
She goes on, and this is her talking about Elizabeth Warren.
Oh, boy. Okay.
But I do think that Elizabeth Warren is a real issue here. She was greeted as such a celebrity at this conference this past couple of days.
Nation getting a huge.
She was all but a candidate. She can say what she wants about not running, but if there were a slip or if there were any reason where Hillary Clinton has to take a step back, and if the foreign policy becomes an issue, which she has to own part of.
Well, I think there have been slips. I think there have been slips on the book tour, talking about her personal wealth. Those are unforced errors, and I think the Elizabeth Warren folks see.
Who's this hysterical gay?
The black guy.
I think there have been slips.
An opening there. Now the question is, on the left. I mean, how big is the universe of people who think the problem with Obama is that he's too conservative? That's who Elizabeth Warren would be going after. I don't know how many people there are, but she could.
Well, there may be disillusioned, disappointed liberals who don't feel
Hillary left.
But there's one other thing about the economy being everything here. Leadership is the issue.
All right, now a couple of things that keep coming up at the dinner table here. Hillary's going to have a hard time of it anyway. What happens to all the money that Ready for Hillary? She's collected millions and millions and millions of dollars through this Ready for Hillary operation, which I'm a subscriber to.
Mm-hmm.
And you get a mailing every day, and send us $5, send us $10.
No, it's always $3. It's always $3.
No, it's not always $3 anymore.
Okay, sorry.
They do use that $3 gimmick, but generally speaking, it's like it was $20.11 recently for something. It had to do with 2011, and they're taking a hint from the experts. The point is that what happens to all that money? And even if Hillary runs and she gets potloads of money, she'll get $1 billion. She'll collect $1 billion to run, and decides not to. So you spend it all, and what happens to all that money?
I believe legally.
I know
she
there are
gets to
rules
keep
about it,
yeah.
but is Ready for Hillary under those rules? Because Ready for Hillary is not a campaign.
Oh, I know what happens. This is easy. She looks at every check, every donation, and says, "Okay, I won't kill you. Thanks for your money. You want it back? You sure?" Yeah.
I think this is a money grab.
Speaking of leadership in that clip, there was again the Dutch about this Israel-Palestine thing. I'm looking on Facebook. I'm sorry. I was evaluating social media, and I swear to God, I see people posting the following. People cannot be responsible for the actions of their government.
What?
Yeah. Yes. People saying,
what is the point of this meme? It's bullcrap, by the way.
Yes, of course. But that is the European mentality. That's the thinking. Well, we can't be responsible for what the stupid government does. It's come to this. This is where we're at now, and
wow.
I think it's pretty close here. I don't know, man, but I'm not responsible for the government. And then, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I know. Depressing, I know. Let's take a little break, John.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda. Hey now. In the morning.
These are the donors who came in with $50 or more. Mainly people donate less than that if they want to remain anonymous, or if they're on a monthly program or some kind of subscription, which we highly appreciate. And do want to remind you that if you receive a note, you may want to check. And a lot of people got unsubscribed from their subscriptions when their cards were compromised at Target and Neiman Marcus, etc. And then you get a note that says, No Agenda doesn't want your support, essentially. No, we don't want your money. We've unsubscribed you. Contact them. It's not true. And why? Do you think that this... Here's the thought I had about that, John. There was a guy who programmed this a long time ago, but he wrote the code. Maybe it was Pierre Drive My Car. Put the code in there. Elon Musk, for all I know. And they forgot about it, and it's just in there, and no one complains. No one's going to
complain all the time. I never get any note back from them. It's like it's so buried in there, I believe. There's the only reason that I never says anything. I should write a column about it and point it out even more, but then it looks like, I don't know, it's a conflict of interest or something. Whatever the case is, nobody ever responds. I think it's so deep, and it's probably in some sort of, it's binary or something. They can't find it.
They burned it into an EEPROM. Something like that. It's that bad. Bless you.
Yeah, makes me sneeze when I think about it.
Let's thank some people.
Yes, let's thank Michael Voss in Evergreen, Colorado, over there where they're having these meetings in Aspen and elsewhere. $133.33.
Nice.
He's also a $33.33 monthly donor, but he's thought that the helpings of value have been extra large lately, and he wants to know if the latest jingles are posted anywhere.
No, I don't do that anymore because I got a little tired of hearing podcasts playing our jingles and not attributing them. It's just like a part of their show now. So no, I don't do that. But if you want to have one of the jingles, you can A, cut it out of the show. B, you can email me. I'd be happy to email you whatever clip you want. It just got too easy. People are like, hey, I'm going to do a podcast. They're posting on G Plus podcast group. Where do I get some jingles? Oh, grab some of the No Agenda guy stuff. It's great. No, not
right. No plug for the show. Nothing.
No.
Putin!
So that's what he wanted. You got it. But you just email me and I'll be happy to send it to you.
Ned Jeffrey in Dural, New South Wales, Australia, 96.96.
Nice.
We have karma for you and Michael at the end of our list
Jobs
here.
karma, of course. Yeah.
Sir Nick Principe, Knight of the Numbers in Raleigh, North Carolina, 7373.
Taking my ham radio technician exam right after the show, 3 p.m. Sunday. Yes, we'll give you some ham karma. You'll be fine.
It's even like. Were you the one that was called me on Saturday on the?
Yeah. Did you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you. Yeah, I was going up to the drag races,
and you took your rig.
I put the thing in the and I was looking around, and there was the Napa repeater, and I was way down in Vallejo, and I driving, and I could hit the repeater in Napa, and I said, well, that's interesting. So I checked in, and then you said hello.
Yeah, but then you never came back.
No, it's because it disappeared. I lost it.
All right. Oh, good. I mean, I do for every once a day at least. I give you a call out, see if you're around. So
I was keying up, so you should have gotten a.
I always get a big kick out of it when you come. Yeah. Because you say all these like CB things, you're like Roger, over.
I never say CB things.
Okay.
I say stuff that you would do if you were working for the government and had a radio in your car and worked for 5 or 6 years.
That's true. You do say that.
And that's what it is. I never had a CB radio.
You sound like a narc.
Well, I worked for the government for a long time, and we had a radio in the car.
10-4.
10-4 was one of the things we'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Kruijff. Mark Kruijff.
Very good.
In Antwerp.
In Belgistan.
And $69 even.
Okay. And he has a birthday.
By the way, it's his 5th donation of $69.
Nice. And he has just went through some TSA checkpoint in Akron, Ohio. Very friendly, but did have to take my shoes off. In one of my meetings, someone said, Russia's bad. It's so bad. Clearly, the media is doing a good job. Stirring up the Cold War again. Back to lovely Belgium, where the beer is the best and the governments never get formed after elections.
David Lane in Springfield, Missouri. He sent a handwritten note, which I will try to read.
With a check?
Yeah, what?
With a check?
Yeah, this is a check. Bless me, John and Adam, for it has been 5 months since I last donated. Apparently a Catholic. I contribute $2 a month to Leo Laporte's Twit network because I enjoy listening to a few of his shows. The No Agenda show is worth at least 33 times as much.
Oh, wow.
So here's your $66.
Thank you.
For your pot of courage. Thanks for everything. It really means a lot. And he really means that. A recovering rule follower. Get that rule following clip?
Yeah, I wasn't ready for it.
One of my favorites now.
Yeah, I got it here. Yeah,
What's up with with Noodle Boy?
We do. It's much shorter than Noodle Boy.
I'm a rule follower, so if the rule is that we have to do it, then I'll do it.
That's right. I'm a rule follower.
I love the rule followers. I got a rule for you. Sir Chuck Walters in Schaumburg, Illinois. Double nickels on the dime. Carter Blumeyer in Windermere, Florida, 5333. Sarah Remins.
Obviously Remins. R-E-M-Y-N-S-E.
She's in Salinas. Got a birthday coming up. This is a donation for a husband.
This is a very, very good development.
Yes, I'm really enjoying to see this.
But I think we need a pronunciation guide. Remins? I don't want to. It's his birthday. It would suck if I said
Remins.
Remins. I think Jason.
I made
Remins.
a donation for my husband as a birthday gift because he's a big fan of the show. If you could wish Jason Remins a happy birthday, I would be forever grateful, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, please let him know that
grateful.
Please let him know he'll get a special rusty trombone tonight.
And now $50 donations. It's a short list today, by the way, if nobody hasn't noticed so far. But $50 donors now, we're down to that, with Complete Technology Solutions in Muncie, Indiana. Michael Mataloni with a birthday call out for someone. Chicago, Illinois, we'll give him karma at the end. Paul Levy in Grinnell, Iowa, 50. Peter Totes, our common from parts unknown, commonly donating every month. Gerald Inabinet in Union, South Carolina. And finally, Shad Rich and Abednego in Seattle, Washington. And we want to thank them and all the others that donated lesser amounts for show 638.
Yeah, that was a short list. If we didn't have a good list of execs, we would have been in trouble this show.
Yes, but show 638 Dvorak.org/NA. Short list. But we do have some birthdays.
And we will be back on Thursday, and we need all the help we can get with more analysis. I think we're providing some value. I look at CNN for hours on end, and I don't see much value coming out of that box.
No, it's horrible. There's just a waste of money. This is shallow, and they cut segments short, and they go to commercials, and there's so many commercials on cable.
Oh, I know.
It's like commercial. It just never ends.
And I have BBC World News. That's a jip. There's never anything. It's always like, here's some people in Africa with a boring voiceover and no news.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's boring. It's no good.
Well, compare that to, I do have a short clip before you go to the rest of this. Just a very short clip. I want to play it. This is an example of the kind of news that you can get if you really do a lot of digging. This is the Parliament update.
Ah, a Parliament update. Okay, yeah, here we go. Very good. I also have the Parliament update. Yes.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Hey now.
It's your birthday.
And we start off by saying happy birthday to Chris Pellegrino here in Austin, Texas. He turned 46 today. Kisses from us, Chris. Pedro Vaz says happy birthday to his daughter Sarah, turning 2 today. Sir Guard Dog of Sin City celebrates. Mark Kreisch says happy birthday to his mom, turns 75 tomorrow, and we send lots of good health karma her way. Sarah Remens, happy birthday to her husband Jason. More good stuff coming. And Michael Mataloni celebrating tomorrow, July 28th. Happy birthday to all of you, and a nice card and all the best wishes from your friends here at the No Agenda Show.
It's your birthday, yeah.
I mixed it up a bit there.
You did.
Yeah. All right. Let's.
Hold on. Let me get this thing. It's on the. There we go.
Pedro Vaz, please step forward. John Adams, come on down. Both of you have contributed to the No Agenda Show in the amount of $1,000 more, and therefore I'm very proud to welcome you to the table of dames and knights. I hereby pronounce thee Sir Endipity and Sir John of Stratford, the Red Knight. For you, my friends, I've got hookers and blow, port and Portuguese olive oil, mushrooms and maker's mark, Brent Boys and Chardonnay, hot pants and booze, bong hits and bourbon, or mutton and mead. It is Sir John of Stratford, isn't it? Because it was misspelled here. I just want to make sure I didn't. It's not Startford, I'm sure.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Let's just double check. Sir John of Stratford. Yeah, okay. That's what happens. The one time I read from a script, the one time if it's misspelled and I get thrown off. I'm clearly not a professional. And for everybody who requested it, we have to give you a karma. I think we're going to do Jobs karma. Seems like, despite what the president says, it doesn't hurt these days.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
I wanted to run the latest conspiracy by you.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a funny one. And it went very fast. This one went very, very fast. And we actually look at this particular type of news very closely. And let me see. I have the thing here. Where is it? Somehow I'm not doing very well on the jingles today. Where's my marching? Here we go. And my soldiers. Yeah, this is what I want.
I can do the soldiers.
Deutschland Blitzkrieg! Deutschland Blitzkrieg! Deutschland Blitzkrieg! Yeah, you have a very small garrison.
It's a small group, very small group, and they really can't walk in step.
So there's this guy named Jim Willie. Have you ever heard of Jim Willie?
I've heard of Willie.
Financial newsletter writer Jim Willie, no less.
Oh, yeah. No, I have not.
Yeah. So he came. This is very interesting. This is one of these things that there was an interview that he did with some podcast, And it was clipped and cut and translated, and I've received it from all over the world. Oh my God, this is what's happening. And of course, I'd already seen it, and I'm looking at it. What Jim Willie is saying, and this is the big news, Germany is secretly planning on joining the BRICS.
Huh. Where does this idea come from?
Oh, he has a very long
BRICS
explanation.
wouldn't let him in for a while. Actually, I see what the connection is: Germany and
Russia. But I did think that the BRICS have this new. I guess they're setting up a form of payment system with this.
Right, we had clips of that.
Right, so this $100 billion bank, etc. And it will be, I guess, like SWIFT, which Russia has now effectively been kicked out of. I don't think they can use SWIFT anymore, can they?
Well, a number of the banks can't, but some of the private banks in Russia can.
So I do see a possibility where Germany, Deutschland might participate in that system, not necessarily leaving any other system.
Would be bad.
Now, the other thing that could happen, and this kind of brings me back to Noodleman, there is a possibility, and this is where I think we're overlooking this. Again, globalists, not people who represent countries. There is a possibility the EU could run into trouble, fall apart. If England
that would
leaves,
be our prediction.
Sorry, that would be our
prediction.
Yeah, but it absolutely can fall apart. And I will remind you, this is the current thinking from the globalists.
While I'm driving off laughing, this is what I'll say. Fuck the EU. Fuck the EU. Fuck the EU.
That's Noodleman, who is a globalist. I think that they mean it.
You think what?
I think they mean it. Like, screw the EU.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
So and Germany is. I think Germany is the EU if you really look at it, and the UK with the financial center, but they're not even in the monetary unit, and it's possible that they would leave, and I think it would fall apart. If who knows what will happen with Scotland, that brings its own complications. The south of Europe, Spain, they might as well just join the caliphate. I can see that happening.
Yeah, well, they might as well. I mean, they've done it before.
I can see it happening. Yeah, isn't that something they know about? Haven't they done?
Yeah, well,
stuff?
most of the south of Spain is very Moors. The Moors, which were the Muslims, took over the place.
Yeah.
And they ran it for a while, and then they got rousted, and that was the end of it. But they left behind a lot of art, and design ideas, and whatever.
I had an article about that. Let me see. This is in June, Spanish monarch Juan Carlos abdicated in favor of son Felipe. More drastic. Something is changing. It could actually be being set up now.
Well, if anybody thinks that Germany is going to do this, they really don't. They don't give the United States a lot of credit for being able to prevent these sorts of things.
You mean the BRICS, joining the BRICS?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't see that happening at all. That makes no sense. But it makes
sense. Yeah, you made it make a little sense right there. But
joining the system, not saying we're not going to participate with any other system. I think the Germans are your fair weather friends. I mean, not the Germans, the globalists who run the German faction of the globalist empire.
Probably. That's good that we keep an eye on this.
I really liked it. I enjoyed listening to the guy. He's very enthusiastic. I don't have enough money to subscribe to his financial newsletter, but yeah, I thought that was interesting. But probably what is going to be all determining is the TTIP. That's kind of fallen off the radar, but the transatlantic.
Yeah, we were talking about that
at dinner.
Incessantly, no, not at dinner. Incessantly, us, you and me, and then we stopped talking about it.
Well, it was supposed to happen before the election, and now the election has been pretty good because everyone's kind of staying in place, and the radical parties couldn't really get it all together because Geert Wilders didn't want to. They didn't want to be with UKIP, and it didn't work out. So the power is kind of the same. The same douchebags are running the show. But clearly there is strife amongst the different pieces, And Germany, I'd say all eyes on Germany, all eyes on Turkey. Turkey, which I have under the heading of Automania, we have a presidential election coming up in a couple of weeks. So we can kill him before that if we want to, Erdogan. Or we can just make sure he loses. But there's...
I don't see how he's going to lose.
Well, here's some headlines. He's being called a Jew hater.
I don't see that. That hurts him in Turkey. How?
No, on the global scale, I think it hurts.
Oh, yeah, well, on the global, yeah. But
someone can go, you Jew hater, I killed you.
That would be a good reason. I mean, you can see him getting assassinated by someone because of that, maybe.
Yeah.
But he's got to be a gunner. They can't let this guy continue doing what he's doing. He's just out of control.
Well, you know, I have the Greek prophecies. Which people keep sending me that, like everything's going according to the Greek prophecies.
I'm glad they're sending them to you.
I know you'd have no patience for this. Zero. You would just be, what? Get out of town. And the prophecy is that there will be war between Russia will try to take Turkey. That is essentially what the prophecy says. And then it's the Greek guys, right? And of course, Greece never comes out good in the prophecy for some reason. It always ends bad for them. So that part is working. But apparently Russia will break all the way through to Turkey, but then they will hold off and they will essentially give it back to the West, which would be the UK and the United States. That's in a nutshell.
That makes nothing but sense.
I'm just saying that's in a nutshell. And then we all become friends again somehow. And that does, I've always said, that makes the most sense. Putin isn't just Russia. Putin's a globalist. He doesn't hate what's going. He just wants to, he's maneuvering. Everybody needs their bits of turf. That's the falsehood.
This all began when they essentially nationalized Gazprom and kicked the Russian oligarchs out of the place, that were running these very profitable oil companies. And Putin and his boys said, this is not right. And it's just never been the same since. In fact, if you look at the list, and I have the list you can play the clip of the banks they're going after. They're only going after Russian banks. They're talking about the United States and the EU. They're only going after Russian banks that are state controlled. There's really a strong movement internationally, and I think this has got something to do with the anti-Putin stuff, to privatize larger pieces of Russia. And I don't know who's behind it. Maybe these rich Russian guys are. They've hired the top PR people around the world. But it's got something to do with it. You can play that.
Now, Delano, get us up to speed on what further sanctions we can expect against Russia.
That's right. Now, this comes on the back of a meeting that was held in Brussels on Tuesday. Now, officials are considering further sanctions on Russia based on the events that have happened in Ukraine since the downing of MH17. Now, talks are still ongoing behind the scenes, but more details about what's on the cards have been emerging. Officials say Russian state-owned banks could become targets, and analysts warned sanctioning those banks would be a serious blow for the wider Russian economy. Now, this would make it more difficult for lenders who provide loans to consumers and businesses, as Solange Mougin now reports.
Targeting Russian banks, in particular banks owned by more than 50% by the Russian government. European diplomats said the sanctions being discussed would ban state-owned banks from issuing new bonds or purchasing new shares in the European Union. In Russia, state-owned banks dominate the sector, which means the ban could have serious effects on the Russian economy. EU diplomats say that nearly half of the bonds issued by the Russian public financial institutions last year were issued in the EU. Simply put, some Russian banks could soon struggle to get loans, which in turn could have a negative effect on Russian businesses in need of funds. The largest banks with state ownership of over 50% are Sberbank, VTB, Russian Agricultural Bank, and VEB.
Really, this is all just one big technology play. I mean, a bank is nothing more than a private internetwork that connects with other private internetworks and sends bogative numbers back and forth, pretending to be money. I mean, it really is meaningless. This has been going on so long, this propaganda. I mean, this is a clip from 1950, a little bit before my time, and you were probably too young, John, to remember this, but I've heard nothing but this bull crap my entire life. This is a real spot on television from 1950.
If words alone could stem the tide of rampaging communism, it'd be fine, for talk is cheap. But no amount of sidewalk gossip, intellectual discussion, or silver-tongued oratory has any effect on the ever-surging threat of red aggression. But there are things a communist does respect. He respects atom bombs. He respects wide-winged, globe-circling bombers.
Yeah.
He respects steel-girded ships of the line.
Yeah.
He respects well-conditioned, well-equipped fighting men. Yes, this makes sense to him. So, let's make him respect us by providing these things in great numbers. To do this takes money, and we can help provide that money by buying United States defense bonds.
And it goes on and on and on. The Ruski, he respects our guns. Let's give him what he respects. And so that's just moved along. We didn't have the networking capabilities. We didn't really have computers. And we had to ask you to take your paper and go exchange it for some paper, or actually your coins, and exchange it for some paper. And that's how we stole your money first. And now we just take it directly from you. And we just steal the digits. You know, we give you the assumption and the illusion that you have money on a piece of plastic. And we just take everything from you.
And nobody gives a crap if this supposedly illusionary money can buy me the groceries I want at the store, and it does. So what's wrong with that?
Okay. Yeah. I don't
really have a problem with species, which is what this is called. And I know what it's a substitute for anything real. And I know what the game is, and I know how you can, how the government can make money by running inflation up and down and scoring in the over. There's ways of taking pennies out of the system, and also by making the money worth less technically, so you can pay off your bills with cheaper money, which is the key to getting out of debt. You cheapen the money with high inflation rates, that money's worth less, but it still says if I owe you $100 and I have $100, I could pay you now, or I'll say I'll pay you later, and then the deflation takes place, and now my $100
is effectively 75.
It's more 10 cents.
Oh, that's a real deflation. Yeah.
And so the $100 is 10 cents. I still owe you $100. And I give you $100, which is now the equivalent of 10 cents, and my debt's over. I've got it made.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that because we're in a depression, and then during a depression, you actually have deflationary issues that push it the other way, where the money actually becomes worth more. That's what they're always fearful of, because the worst case scenario is true deflation, and the economists were sick about this. During a depression, there's always the opportunity for things, for products to sell for cheaper, and your money's worth more. In other words, my $100 now worth $110, and if I owe you with the $100, and now my $100 is worth $200 in real money, I'm giving you $200 to pay. That's no good. You can't do that.
No.
So that's why you always want controlled inflation.
Yes.
And then if you really want to let it go out of control, then you can take care of a lot of problems real fast. Not so much that the public suffers, but they can deal with it.
Atlas Shrugged
by Ayn Rand.
Hey, hold on a second, John. Woo, everybody, it's time for Tech News. It is Sunday. That means we always take a quick look at the news that took place this week.
I have tech news.
You have tech news, John?
I actually have tech news. I have a clip.
Is it about phones?
Of course.
Oh, do I play the clip?
Yes.
It looks like Motorola has invented a new way for us to unlock our phones.
This is something you may like, Sean. Yes, Motorola has come out and said no more tricky passwords or scanning your fingertips. The Moto X will now unlock with a tattoo sticker made from plastic that's around the size of a nickel.
Wow.
Now, the material lasts on human skin for 5 days, and is meant to withstand sweat and even a shower. Users users will simply need to tap the back of the phone with the digital tattoo to unlock the device. The company says it wanted to reduce the amount of time users take to unlock their phones, which is currently at around 2.3 seconds. So they want to cut that and they cut that down.
Well, I don't know how much time you take to unlock your phone, but I don't know if I needed to go that fast. All right, thank you so much. Delano D'Souza reporting the day's business news there.
Is that that guy from the New York Times?
No, this is some guy I've never seen before. Just happens to have the name D'Souza.
Well, he got a big scoop on the phone tattoo.
I had never heard this before. And I only picked it up because I thought they were talking about unlocking the phone.
Yeah, like to be able to use any SIM card.
But no, it meant people put passwords in front of their, I don't even bother.
Well, this is great.
Oh, somebody's going to steal your phone and they're going to have what? My point of where I stopped Angry Birds, they can pick up the game from there. I mean, who cares? No, they're going to have
Hold on.
your address books.
Hold on a second. You play what? Angry Birds?
Yeah.
Really?
Angry Birds in Space 2.
I think if you have this tattoo, it would be worth chopping your hand off for your address book.
Mark of the Beast.
Yeah, of course it's the Mark of the Beast. Hello, Google Voice 666. It's all coming true. We knew it was happening. No one would believe us. Yes. Of course, the next step is actually have a real tattoo, which is going to be a barcode. I mean, it's so simple to see.
Mark of the Beast.
Some actual tech news. Tech news. But I have to be a woman. You can't do tech news unless you're a girl.
That's true.
And preferably
this, maybe get away with it.
Preferably have some Asian blood in you. I don't know. I'm just saying what I see.
That comes another note from that guy.
I'm just saying what I see. We read the mayor's agreement from the Congregation of Mayors? Remember that big document about all the crap they were going to do? And one of them was net neutrality.
Right.
I mean, packet equality. Here it is. And the first ones are out of the gate. A letter from the mayors of Portland, New York, and San Francisco. And I have this letter for you in PDF format, which you can find in the show notes. Sent to the Honorable Tom Wheeler, Chairman of the Federal Communications Commission. Dear Chairman Wheeler, we, the undersigned mayors of New York City, San Francisco, and Portland, Oregon, blah, blah, submit this letter, blah, blah, ensuring that the internet remains free and open. We, as the elected representatives of some 9.8 million citizens, we urge the FCC to issue the strongest possible rules to guarantee net neutrality. Hi! Made another rhyme. And here we go. We believe that this is just stuff I've highlighted. We believe that the most effective way to truly protect the open internet is for the FCC to break with its previous approach and reclassify broadband internet as a telecommunications service subject to regulation as a common carrier. And here's my favorite. It is critically important that our residents, among them many students, parents, educators, and prostitutes.
Does anybody note that this is just this is not good?
That's why you're no agenda show.
A very censored internet with the government in charge.
I'll read this paragraph again. I will finish it, and you will throw up in your mouth. It is critically important that our residents, among them many students, parents, educators, and prostitutes, who are only able to connect to broadband at schools or libraries, are able to freely access lawful content.
Oh, there we go.
Without being confronted with delays that threaten adoption. Sincerely, Bill de Blasio, Charlie Hales.
Why are we the only... why is this show, the No Agenda show, that people help keep on the air by contributing to Dvorak.org/INA? Why are we the only ones that keep bringing up this lawful content issue?
Because when we talk about tech news, we spend very little time on the phones. if there's an important release, I mean, obviously it's our headline.
When has that ever been?
It's we just did it. It's our headline news. The Motorola
did it with the tattoo unlock thing.
That was the headlines. And if we had a panel, we could talk about it for a bit.
We talk about it.
So,
and then we have the tattoo. What would you wear one, Bill? Yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool, but I don't like the looks of this tattoo. It's not pretty enough. I think if it was a prettier tattoo, maybe a square or a barcode or something, I think it might look a little better. I don't like it because it doesn't only last 5 days. I think it should be on there for a month, or maybe you should even have it permanently attached. I mean, it seems to me that 5 days is not long enough. You have to keep. Where do you get the next tattoo? Do you have to buy it from them? Do you have to pay $5? How do you get it? And what if the phone all of a sudden doesn't recognize the tattoo because you scratched yourself? Or maybe they're a bug bite. You get maybe a flea bite or something, and now the thing doesn't work anymore. How do you get on your phone? You're going to be locked out completely. You have to go to the factory? I don't know, Bill. What do you think?
Well,
I could go on like this.
I like that. It's kind of turning me on. I think I would like my tattoo to interact with the Internet of Things.
There's another topic.
So my Nest will recognize my tattoo.
Your Nest.
Yes. And I want
slave, welcome back to your home.
And I want to start my Tesla with my tattoo. In fact, we can call it a TT, a Tesla tattoo.
Yeah.
I think this will be very good.
A lot of TTs in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Satan!
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your tech news for today. I'm done.
Well, no, wait, I'm not done. I got something else, I think. I've got, this I got to play. I've been sitting on this clip. I just think is a disgusting story. This is the problem with China. And this is a report about...
Only one problem?
Well, this is a major problem with China, which is the food supply. Although I can't believe that we're much better than this.
Yes.
Listen to this.
Some of the biggest restaurant chains in the world are caught up in a food safety scare in China.
Yeah, this is a big story you'll want to be aware of. They say they've removed products that came from a factory accused of mishandling and selling expired meat. Relitsa Vasilova has more.
This is Shanghai Hu Seafood Company, an American-owned meat factory operating in China. Among its clients, fast food chains in China, including McDonald's, Starbucks, KFC, and Pizza Hut. And behind this door is something Shanghai Husi never wanted you to see. CNN cannot independently verify the authenticity of these disturbing images.
I'm sure they're right.
By Shanghai-based Dragon TV. Raw meat being scooped from the floor in heaps and thrown into a metal tub on the production line. This sign says substandard. The bin of substandard chicken nuggets is dumped into another bin mixed with raw chicken for reprocessing. These beef patties used in Big Macs and other products, old patties, tossed back in with raw beef. Also in the mix, expired meat. The parent company of Shanghai Husi, Illinois-based OSI Group, says it is appalled by the media report and is investigating. McDonald's and Yum Brands have apologized to customers and halted orders from the company. And other restaurants have pulled all products that came from Shanghai Husi. The factory's operations have been suspended, but China's struggle against food quality scandals continues. Relitsa Vasilova, CNN.
I think our plan was working perfectly to kill all the Chinese until they found us out.
Well, it didn't get very far. And if anybody doesn't think the company in the United States
is doing exactly the same thing,
and the way you stop this is with inspectors. They would have an inspector, an American inspector, at the Chinese plant. Yeah. You can hire one. It doesn't have to be a Chinese guy that speaks Chinese and he's over there.
Right.
I mean, if there's no inspection at this level, they can take a movie of the thing. I mean, this is beyond carelessness. They don't care. And they're doing this on purpose.
Yeah,
they're doing it on purpose. Look at all this used patties. Apparently, they're hamburgers that nobody picked them up or whatever. They're cooked, and they mix them in with the new meat, and then they just grind everything together. They don't care because it saves money. Everything's got to be cheap. And no, this is not. This is all meant to be.
I'm happy though. I can pay for my repurposed, picked up off the floor, ground in, outdated meat with my tattoo. This is the good news. Wow, this is so cool. All right, slaves, enjoy your world. Or enjoy ours, where we just have a nice time laughing about all the bull crap. Get outside, sit in the sun for a little bit. Feel the wind in your face. And join us here again on Thursday, and please support us at Dvorak.org/NA. Coming to you from the capital of the Drone Star State in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where it's overcast and kind of miserable and smoggy and kind of hazy and, I don't know, it's not that great, but it'd be better to be outside. I'm John C. Dvorak.
We'll be back on Thursday right here on No Agenda.
I'm a rule follower, so if the rule is that we have to do it, then I'll do it.
I'm Joe Biden, and thank you for taking the time to listen.
Fear is freedom. Subjugation is liberation. Contradiction is truth. Those are the facts of this world. And you will all surrender to them. You pigs in human clothing.
The best podcast in the universe.
Dvorak.org/NA